Welcome, everybody, to the Cotuit Kettleers pregame show. Alongside me, Ben Fisher. I'm Zach Kaplan. The Kettleers taking on the Wareham Gatemen. It's the final day of July, the 31st, that is, and Kettleers getting ready for the playoff run against what's looking like at least the top team in the Western Division here. Wareham coming in today, the sixth and final meeting of these two teams on the season. Kettleers 1-2-1 against Wareham heading in. And Ben, I want to bring you in now. They struggled against this team earlier in the season, but the last two times out against Wareham, a tie and a win. The win seems like a big difference maker, a turning point, you could argue. I know we were talking with Sam Niederman before this. That Garrett Woolforth home run was the difference in that game, and it seems like it's been a major turning point for their season.
Yeah, they've really, I'm not sure whether that was a moment that sort of galvanized the team, but it really looks like it was. It was sort of it was a dead game. It felt like it was 3-1. You're in Wareham, which is not anybody's favorite park, I don't think. They're sort of slogging through that game, and then Woolforth comes up, puts a charge in one, and really looked like it put the charge in the team, puts one over the fence. They steal a game against Wareham. That's back when they were in a fight to stay out of last place with Bourne. So yeah, it looked like they really turned it around. They've been hot since that game. They've been hitting better, they've been fielding better, they've been doing everything better, and there's just been the feeling around the team has been different. It's gone from feeling like a team that could limp into the playoffs to a team that actually feels like a playoff team based on how they're playing and feels like they've earned their playoff spot. So I think they've definitely turned it around that night in Wareham, and I think whether or not they can do it again against the Gatemen tonight, they'll have good memories of playing the Gatemen by the end of the season.
Yep, if that's the case, they could very well flip that record almost, where it started 0-2-1, and a win tonight would put him at 2-2-1. Sounds a lot better, at least when you look at it heading into the playoff race. Kettleers 8-2 in their last 10 now, only 3 losses since they worked out at Fenway Park. Seems like 2 weeks ago from yesterday, and then only 1 loss since that collapse against the Chatham Anglers here about a week and a half ago. So they've just been hot. They've been the hottest team in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and they hope to continue that success heading into August. It's the last day of the month, and here are the line. Or actually, we should talk about yesterday before we move into today. The offense stayed hot. Another 8-run game that we've talked about it since the beginning of the season. That 5-run number, the lucky number for this Kettleer team, and they put up an 8 spot yesterday. It was good enough to get the win, and good enough for Coach Roberts, who was pretty happy after the game.
Yeah, they're humming along right now, and the important difference between now and the beginning of the year is finishing on rallies. They're hitting home runs pretty much as often as they did. I don't think the extra base hit numbers or even the hit numbers at all have really jumped up. But they're stringing hits together, and when they get runners on base and get runners in scoring position, they're bringing them home, which was something they really struggled with to start the year. So I think it's a consistency thing rather than I think the numbers of runs have jumped up. The hits haven't really jumped up that much. It's just everybody's contributing. Everybody's building off the guy ahead of them, and they're bringing in runners without needing to manufacture runs like they did at the beginning of the season. You're seeing less bunts. You're seeing less steal attempts because there's that confidence there now. Okay, we got a guy on first with nobody out. We don't need to move him up to second to get him in with a sacrifice. We can just let our guys swing the bat, and they're going to find holes, and they're occasionally going to put the ball over the fence. So they've been excellent offensively in terms of passing the bat from one guy to the next, and I think that's really important going into the playoffs.
And defensively, the pitching has been spectacular as of late. Only 2 runs allowed yesterday by Addison Moss, and Trey Holland, that is, from Sewanee, getting the win in his debut, going 3 1/3 for the Kettleers. Moss, with a nice start yesterday, really picked himself up off of that start in Chatham. That didn't go so hot. Of course, Kettleers came back to win that game. He got lucky enough to get a no decision, even though he allowed 5 earned runs in the first inning of work. But came together last night. Looks pretty good, and some sources think he might be the game 1 starter heading into Saturday. The game 1, the playoff series, we don't know who the opponent's going to be, but it would seem like Moss, the likely starter on 4 days rest.
Yeah, well, he's lined up for it perfectly in terms of rest. He'll go Monday to Saturday. Would be if you're working a 5-man rotation, that's your start. Coach Roberts was very complimentary. He went 4 2/3. He allowed 2 runs, so that's not a stat line that jumps off the page. But those first 4 innings, he looked as good as anybody else we've seen in a Cotuit uniform. on the mound this season. In post-game, Coach Roberts was talking about the faith he has in him. He was talking about how guys who come out of Rice, he was complimenting the Rice coach. He was saying that Moss was their Saturday starter, so he's used to facing tough competition. He's used to being in those big spots, and he's not going to shrink away from it. And I think the thing he most wanted to see out there, because you know the stuff you're getting, and you know sort of the makeup you're getting of a pitcher. I think the most important thing he did last night was he showed that he's not going to get rattled. He gave up 5 runs in 2/3 of an inning in Chatham. He was coming back against Brewster, and you could have seen him fold inward. You could have seen him really just sort of give up on the summer, just say, all right, I'm not going to do well here. I'm going to come out. I'm just going to sort of just go through the motions. But he came out and he competed, and he put the team in a position to win. And I think he did everything he needs to do, stuff-wise, mentally, and competitiveness-wise, just to show that he is the guy that you can turn the ball over to in that game one, and he'll give you quality innings against a playoff-level opponent.
Certainly, and the Kettleers know they'll be up against someone decent. It's still up for grabs. We're going to get into tonight's schedule in just a little bit here. Some big games with some big implications on the West Division playoff race. Now let's talk about the lineup for today for the Kettleers. Zach Bierman and Duke Ellis are back in it after a combined 5 RBIs between the two of them. Bierman with 3 yesterday and Ellis with 2. And here's how the lineup reads. It's going to be, seems like it's going to be pretty much this lineup going down the stretch here with 11 position players on the roster. So Robert's going to keep swapping them in here as they go. But the lineup is as follows. Will Robertson leads off, plays right field for the Kettleers. Bierman back in that 2 spot, the designated hitter. Roberts likes to put the guys who make the hardest contact the most often at the 1 and 2 spots, and Robertson and Bierman, Roberts has clearly shown that those 2 guys are who we trust the most to do so. Tolley on the 3 spot playing first base. Mike Salvatore in the 4 spot at shortstop. Little Mike and Mike action at the 3-4 spots there. Duke Ellis back in the 5 spot playing center field from Texas. Corey Wood in the 6th spot, the All-American playing second base. Peyton Burdick in the 7th spot playing left field. He was named the Player of the Week earlier today, for last week that is. He put on an absolute clinic. His best week since really the first week of the season. He is really heated up at the right time, kind of a microcosm of the team, if you will. Following him up is Zach Humphreys doing the catching, batting 8th today, and Brady Smith in the 9th spot playing 3rd. And Humphreys doing the catching for Zane Collins, who comes in. And, of course, we were talking with our public address announcer, Roy Reese, who certainly thinks that with Moss lined up as the Game 1 starter, Zane Collins starting today seems to put him in position to make the Game 2 start.
Yeah, I mean, he was the ace last year. He's come back. His velocity is down from where it was last year, but he showed that he's worked well with that low velocity. He's throwing that sinker-type fastball, getting a lot of ground balls. He can work a lot of quick innings. And I think we both know he's not afraid of the big moment. He doesn't take anything too seriously, which isn't to say that he doesn't go out and compete, but he's not going to get up in his own head. So he's exactly the kind of guy I would want to send out either to close somebody out or to try to give you quality innings in a game where you're on the brink of elimination. So he's I think, a perfect guy to start a Game 2 just in terms of a combination of stuff and mentality.
Now let's talk about the Gatemen coming into today with the best run differential in the Cape Cod Baseball League, 63 in the positive, in the black, if you will, if you're a stock market guy. So it's been a season that's gone their way. I know on our pregame show we talked about with the guys they had in the beginning of the season, guys like Vaughn and Packard, there might have been a drop-off with their Team USA guys leaving in early July, but there has not been one at all. They've been picked right up by guys like Austin Shenton and Jeremy Idens. Idens leading the league coming into today's games with 29 RBIs, and Shenton is 3rd in the league with a .358 average. It seems like every time you see these guys in the order, they're a threat to do something at the plate.
Yeah, this team is an offensive force, and they pitch well enough.
Oh, yeah, where are you going?
It's the offense that carries this team, and we saw Vaughn and Packard that first time we went to Spillane Field in Wareham, and they really jump out at you when they're there. And sort of by comparison, those other guys sort of took a back seat, and we left there saying, wow, without those guys, you don't really have that potent offense. And then we came back and we got another look at him, and Shenton and Idens are you're not going to get a guy to replace Andrew Vaughn, but they've done a great job, both in the top 3 for RBI in the league. They're tremendously good. Jeremy Idens doing it, just showing the consistency. He has 1 home run, so he's not breaking off sort of 3 RBI hits, busting balls over the fence, but he's tremendously consistent. He makes hard contact. He can run too, which puts pressure on the defense. And then Shenton's just been a tremendous hitter. You're not expecting one of the best hitters in the league maybe to come from Florida International, but he's so much better than you would expect, and he's just hard contact and getting on base. And this team always, it feels like, when you're facing them, your pitcher's working out of the stretch because they're getting runners on, and then they're bringing them around. And they've the whole season looked like Cotuit's offense has looked the last couple days, and that's what's made them so scary all season long.
Now let's talk about that Wareham lineup of 1 through 9 here. Jack Ralston will be on the mound from UCLA, a teammate of Michael Tolia's and Jeremy Idens for the Gatemen. So we'll talk about Ralston in a second. Here's the lineup he has going to defend him in the field and at bat. Isaac Collins leads off, plays right field. Oliver Dunn in the 2 spot playing second. And then that 3-4 tandem of Austin Shenton at the at DH and Jeremy Idens in left field, just deadly for the Gatemen this year. Drew Millis is doing the catching, batting 5th. Lyle Lockhart Jr., an all-name nominee for us, playing first base, batting 6th, that is. Luke Roscom in the 7th spot playing 3rd. Ryan Kreidler in the 8th spot playing shortstop, and Skylar Hunter rounds things out in center field. Now, Ben, what can you tell us about Jack Ralston, who is making his first start on the mound down on the Cape this summer?
Can't tell you much. He's only thrown 4 1/3 innings. He's made 4 appearances. He's been a reliever. I was talking to Dan Fortier, one of our great GM assistants. He was saying he thinks this might be a bullpen game. This might not really be sort of a conventional start for Ralston, which I think is probably a smart idea if you're Wareham, because he's allowed 6 walks and 7 hits, and has a 10.38 ERA over those 4 1/3 innings. So he has not been that effective. He is, to use one of my favorite terms out there right now, he is an absolute unit. He's 6'6", 235, but he seems like he's been one of those guys where he's not 6'6", 235 and going to scare you on the mound. He's 6'6", 235 and really not living up to the intimidation factor that size gives, because I don't think anybody's going to be scared of a guy with a 10.38 ERA and 6 walks in 4 1/3 innings. So I think Cotuit, especially with the way their offense is humming, should be
good there.
I guess so. They should be excited to face him and hope to knock him around and jump ahead of this potent offense early.
Yep. So Ralston from UCLA making his starter debut, I guess, down here on the Cape. So we'll see how he looks on paper. Not too intimidating, but we'll see what the Kettleers come up against. Let's talk about last night's results. It was one game. The Kettleers game pretty low-key with Brewster. Just a hum-ho 9-2 win. Seems like hum-ho, at least with the way they've been swinging the bats. But the game we really got to talk about, Orleans and Hyannis. Orleans had a 5-0 lead at McKeon Park after 3 innings. So it was an early jump for the Firebirds and Kelly Nicholson and company. Some controversial umpiring as Chad Gassman was ejected, the Hyannis manager, and it seemed like Kelly Nicholson was pretty close to getting ejected as well. But perhaps the umpires sort of acknowledged his shortcomings. And I criticize them so publicly because Codball was tweeting and pretty negative stuff about the umpiring. You know that when a neutral Twitter account like that covers all 10 teams is saying stuff like that about the umpires, it's got to be pretty egregious. Would you say?
Yeah, I don't think it was a good game for him. I wasn't there, so I don't pretend to know 100%. But it seemed like it wasn't a good day for the men in blue. We've talked to Kelly Nicholson before. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, one of the nicest guys in this league. Other than Zach Bierman, of course, who's probably the best person in this league, I would say. And he has, I'm going to say, because we haven't talked about this yet, Zach Bierman has underrated flow, and we never talk about it. He has great hair. He has great hair, and we never talk about it. Anyhow, yeah.
From now on, I mean our one home game left in the regular season, and then however many playoff games, we'll make sure we got to mention that. It will come up. Okay. All right.
That's on us. Hand up. We were wrong.
Hand up. That's on us.
Anyhow, for Kelly Nicholson to be blowing up on an umpire, we've been lucky enough to see it, and that was
ours was pretty bad too.
Ours was pretty bad, and I think Kelly Nicholson is probably just about fed up with it, and to push him across his line is crazy. And I think once you've blown a 5-0 lead, pretty much any call that goes against you that's even borderline, you're going to be out there losing your marbles. And so I think that was just Orleans has had such a weird season that I think it would push anybody, even one of the nicest guys in the league, to the end of his rope, and it seems like that's what's happened.
Seems like a 180 from a year ago when they were East Division champs, at least regular season, that is. Just a turn of events this season is an understatement at this point. So it was an 11-9 Hyannis win over the Firebirds last night in a very wild game at McKeon Park. Now let's talk about the impact that game had on the standings. It had an impact on both divisions, and it goes as follows. YD, we know them. They had the day off yesterday. Still 55 points, class of the league. They have the division locked up. They can rest their starters for 8 or 9 days. Forget 4 or 5 for us. They can send their starters on a nice honeymoon if they wanted to. At least for the first round playoff series. Chatham right behind them, 43 points. That's pretty much set in stone. I believe they've clinched that 2 spot now. Harwich as well. They've clinched that 3 spot there with 36. So we know it'll be Chatham and Harwich going toe-to-toe in the first round. And then Brewster and Orleans, 1 point separates them. The Whitecaps with 28 points. Firebirds missed a huge opportunity to leap back into 4th place last night. Again, a 5-0 lead. Just could not hold on. Would have put them right back in 4th place where they were prior to their game 2 nights ago. But instead, they come in today's game, Brewster with 28 and Orleans with 27. So there you have it. It's going to come right down to the wire in the East Division. Now in the West, Wareham, the class of the division as well, 49 points for them. They're getting close to clinching it, but not quite there yet. Hyannis nipping at their tails with 47 points. The Harbor Hawks got to feel like they lost a little bit too because they had that 1 seed locked up at one point, and then it's Falmouth and Cotuit tied for the 3 spot. At one point last night, after the Cotuit game had ended and prior to the Hyannis game ending, these 3 teams were all tied for second, but it's Hyannis who's jumped out in front with the win, and then Falmouth and Cotuit are together as well. The Commodores have the tiebreaker on Cotuit, but Cotuit has the tiebreaker on Hyannis if it were to come down to that run differential. Hyannis actually has a negative run differential. Kettleers coming into today 11 runs in the black, whereas Falmouth, I believe, has a 30-run lead in that department. So it's not even going to be close in terms of that tiebreaker the last couple days of the season. Bourne, of course, is eliminated with 35 points, so they're playing out the string from here. And Bourne will go to Hyannis tonight, right on cue there. They play at 6 o'clock in McKeon Park, hopefully for the Harbor Hawks at least. Won't be as bizarre as last night. Chad Gassman won't be there. We know that because Jerry Weinstein had to miss a game earlier this week after his ejection. So Gassman won't be there. That's an interesting note for the Harbor Hawks. And then Wareham and Cotuit starting at 5. Brewster and Falmouth starting at 6 over at the Gov. A big game there. Kettleers need a Brewster win and a win of their own to hop the Commodores into 3rd place. They'll have to beat them on points because they can't beat them on run differential.
Now, I mean, hypothetically, if Cotuit wins the rest of their games by 10 runs each and Falmouth loses theirs by 10 runs each, but just realistically and practically, it's not going to happen. So this game's huge, and I think Brewster and Falmouth is going to be one of the more competitive games we've seen and just hotly contested because these are 2 teams that really want those points. Falmouth, I think, really wants to get home field advantage. They've looked better at the Gov than when we've seen them here, just in my view. And Brewster obviously fighting for their playoff lives. And Brewster, I'm sure their coaches are talking about, look, just because you sneak into the playoffs doesn't mean that you're not going to go far in the playoffs. It happened last year, and look where they ended up. So I think that's going to be an incredible game at the Gov.
Yeah, and I want to circle back with you, Ben, for a second about the Western Division. It seems like with the Kettleers so far this season, they haven't matched up. Obviously, we'll find out a little bit here in this home and home the next 2 games. I feel like it's a quasi-playoff series for the Kettleers as they try to get home field. But it seems like they match up pretty well with Hyannis. Not so great with Falmouth, although that could change. And then with Wareham, it's been a good last couple of games for them. We'll see what happens today. But I feel like you want to get Hyannis if you can.
Oh, yeah, just I mean, familiarity is a tricky thing because you play all these teams 6 times, but it's felt much better every time they play Hyannis, even on the road. They've been taking them down. So I think you certainly want to see Hyannis rather than Falmouth or Wareham just based on your history. I can't speak for Coach Roberts whether he's seen something that he thinks can help them, and our opinion may totally change with the home and home with Falmouth. But I think right now, if you're Cotuit, you're looking to try to match yourself up with Hyannis in the playoffs.
And then the last two games tonight, Chatham goes to Harwich. That game starting from White House Field at 6:30, and then YD in Orleans. Chatham, Harwich, I guess you could argue a preview of their pending playoff series. So we can talk about playoff matchups here for a second, what we have figured out. Seems like it's going to be Chatham and Harwich, with Harwich going to Veterans Field, probably getting fogged out realistically in Game 1. So they'll match up in a 3-game series there in the first round. The winner probably playing YD, and I guess you have to give the edge to Brewster here, but YD certainly hosting Game 1 of that series. It's just a matter of whether it'll be Brewster or Orleans going to them. Wareham seems to have that one spot locked up, but the 4 seed could be anybody between Falmouth and Cotuit, it seems like, and then from there, seems like, but in general, seems like Wareham will host Game 1 of their series against the 4 seed, whoever that may be, and Hyannis will host Game 1 of the 2-3 series, whoever that may be as well. Would you say those seedings are pretty much set?
I think it's going to be tough to sort of jump them. You got to have so much different stuff happen, and those are the 2 best teams. So I think for them to fall off would need sort of them to really take their foot off the gas pedal, which I just don't see happening, because I think both of those teams really want to lock up home field for the playoffs.
Heading into tomorrow, the Kettleers will go to Falmouth tomorrow at 6. First pitch at the Gov. Right at 6 o'clock there. Yeah, right after your Dairy Queen, you can run right over and watch the game. The Gatemen will be in Bourne tomorrow, or they will host Bourne rather, over the bridge. So short ride for them as we get into the season-ending home-and-home series here. All 10 teams playing a home-and-home with the closest, or at least the somewhat closest, geographic team to them on the Cape. That'll just about do it for us. It's been a great time here, as we have only one more pregame show left for the regular season. They'll be in Falmouth tomorrow and then back here on Thursday to round out the 44-game slate. It's been a wild ride, and it's only going to get wilder from here. So that'll just about do it on behalf of Ben Fisher and myself. I'm Zach Kaplan. Just about time for first pitch, but before that, let's send it up to our broadcasters, Sam Brief and Sam Niederman, who have the call. Guys, take it away.
Thank you, Zach. Sam Niederman alongside Sam Brief. A big thanks to Zach Kaplan and Ben Fisher, as always, holding down the fort on the pregame show. And by the way, they were talking about Zach Bierman. I feel like Ben alluded to it the best. He said, we have not given Zach Bierman enough credit on his flow. I'd say that's a pretty good flow if you ask me. We haven't done enough credit for that this year.
That's so true. We always talk about Shock and Gale with the mullets, but now Bierman might have the best flow on the team.
Anyway, how you doing? Good to have you along with us. Game 42 on the Cotuit Kettleers 2018 season. Where has the season gone? Here we are today against the Wareham Gatemen. Final meeting between these two sides. Crucial in the last 3 games of the regular season for the Kettleers, making that final push for prime playoff seeding. They'll have a chance against Wareham today, at Falmouth tomorrow, and then home against Falmouth on Thursday to close out the regular season campaign. And the Kettleers, they're hot. They're hot as ever, winning 7 of their last 8 games. It all started against these Wareham Gatemen at Spillane Field just last Saturday when the Kettleers took a 4-3 extra inning victory in 10 innings. What a game that was. That really was the nucleus, the genesis of this good stretch of winning form that Cotuit has found.
That Garrett Woolforth home run in the 8th inning is really what turned the Kettleers season around. Down 3-1 at Wareham, coming off a really tough, blown 7-0 lead against Chatham. The season could have easily taken a turn for the worse. But that Garrett Woolforth home run in the 8th to tie it up, and then the Kettleers won in extras, as you said, that turned the season around. So it's nice to come full circle against this Wareham team where the Kettleers are red hot. Easily the hottest team on the Cape, having won 7 of 8 and 8 of 10. Another 3-game win streak. It's a red hot offense. A pitching staff that's climbing the ranks of the Cape. And another pitcher that has kind of seen a resurgence into the Kettleers starting lineup today in Zane Collins.
We'll see Zane Collins on the mound. He's opposite Jack Ralston, a right-handed pitcher from UCLA who gets to start for Wareham, making just his 5th appearance on the season. And his first game started, Zane making his 5th start and his 11th appearance overall. We'll get into more of that pitching matchup later on. Sam, let's talk about the win from yesterday for Cotuit. 9-2, an offensive outburst against the Brewster Whitecaps to take the season series against them, 3-1. Offense got it going from the start. Zach Bierman, his home run amounted to eventually 3 total RBIs on the day. Everybody in the starting lineup got on base at least once. This offense has just been scorching as of late.
It has been. And you mentioned in the open that Ben Fisher said we weren't giving enough credit to Zach Bierman's hair. I don't think we've been giving enough credit to Zach Bierman as a player in the last week or so. yes, Peyton Burdick and Duke Ellis, they have been the two keys to this run, but Zach Bierman has been very consistent as of late. His batting average creeping towards 300 at 286. Yesterday, his 5th home run of the season, and he's got 21, or he came in with 20 yesterday, and now he's got 23 RBIs on the season. This is a guy who's keyed the offense, and he did that yesterday. Everyone up and down the Kettleers order got on base at some point, and when you do that, you're not going to lose many games. So it's been balanced attacks for the Kettleers, averaging over 7 runs per game during this stretch, and they'll see if they can keep it going.
And how about the starting pitching yesterday for Cotuit? Addison Moss, a new late-season addition from Rice, going 4 2/3, only allowing 2 runs on 6 hits. Pretty solid, and it looks like he might figure in to the starting rotation come postseason time.
I think Addison Moss will be a postseason starter for the Kettleers. If not in Game 1, maybe Game 2 or 3, because Moss is a really highly touted pitcher from Rice. I mean, he can gas it, and when you mix him up with a pitcher like yesterday, we saw Trey Holland come in with a much lower velocity, upper 60s, even as low as 66 on one curveball he threw yesterday. So with a guy like Moss who can throw it into the mid-90s on his fastball, yes, his first outing against Chatham, he gave up 5 runs in less than an inning. He got roughed up. He had just arrived on the Cape. It was his first ever time playing Cape League action at Chatham against a really good offense, but a really good bounce back yesterday. He was very solid, and he will figure into the postseason rotation.
We'll get set for this one coming up after this break. Let's send it to our pregame interview with head coach Mike Roberts, who broke down all things Kettleers, as we get set for this matchup between the Cotuit Kettleers and the Wareham Gatemen in just a moment. This is Cotuit Kettleers baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Yesterday we were fortunate to do that, and it was fun to watch them play. And
I kind of said it was a little belated.
I think they're just having, like, again, I think we said earlier, it's kind of backyard baseball. They're just going out and playing and not worrying too much, and just swinging a little bit maybe earlier in the count than we did earlier in the year, maybe, possibly.
Coach Zane Collins on the bump today. You've been able to see him grow from last season to the end of this season. How have you seen Zane grow as a pitcher through his 2 years in Cotuit?
Well, I think last summer he was very consistent, and then when he went back to school, he found some inconsistency and struggled toward the last 6-8 weeks of his college season. And it's kind of been just a gradual improvement this summer to get him back to where we thought he was as our 1 or 2 guy at the end of last summer. So he's made some progress. He's like most of the other pitchers on the staff. He still needs to improve his strike ratio just a little bit and keep the ball down in the strike zone. But he and Trey Holland are a lot alike. Zane throws harder than Trey, but as far as the way they pitch is very similar. So we're hoping he goes out and has a good outing. It'll be a short outing today because we can't let him go extended innings with the playoffs starting Saturday and this already being Tuesday. So hopefully the innings that he is out there, which most likely would be 3 or 4 at the most, and he pitches very well.
And Coach, playoffs right around the corner. Yesterday you were discussing how you want to see this team turn into a championship caliber team. And what would you say are some of the main characteristics you look for in a championship team versus just any old team?
Well, I think the desire to be there. You know, there are mental skills people that say that, you need a visualization of the dog pile at the end of the championship. Well, that's up to them if they do that in regards to visualization. But in the summer baseball in particular, it's self-motivation. In school, it's more school-oriented by far. The pride in the Florida game. Here it's self-motivation. I just hope the differences they really want to and eventually, if we're fortunate enough to do extremely well,
We got 40 seconds.
All right. I'm excited, my guy. Get into a little of this pitching matchup, and then we'll go right in the lineups.
in the playoffs, which is
Here with Coach Roberts, getting ready for the Wareham Gatemen today. Game 42 on the Cotuit Kettleers regular season. Coach, yesterday in the win against Brewster, 9-2. Lots of offense, 1-9. Every single starter got on base at least once. What's been working for your hitters at the plate so far?
well, you kind of hit it right there. They're getting on base. Instead of 3 or 4.
Past the coop, it's 5 o'clock here in Cotuit, and you know what that means. Time for Cotuit Kettleers baseball. Today, game number 42 against the Wareham Gatemen. Last time that these two Western Division rivals will get together in the regular season, as both have already clinched a playoff berth. And that's just around the corner as the Kettleers try and continue their winning ways, having won 7 of their last 8 games and taking home turf here at beautiful Lowell Park under sunny skies for just the second to last time in this regular season. The beautiful white pinstripe home uniforms out on the diamond right now as Cotuit gets set to take on Wareham. Good to have you aboard this afternoon. I hope you're doing well on this Tuesday. Sam Niederman, Sam Brief, our entire Kettleers media crew taking care of you for this one. Today's pitching matchup, Kettleers going with the left-hander and Zane Collins to get the start, his 5th of the season, up against a right-hander and Jack Ralston for Wareham. Real quick, Sam, what are we looking at with these two opposing pitchers?
Well, Ralston's a guy with minimal experience this season. Only 4 appearances, none of them as a starter. He's been a little shaky. His last time out against Harwich was over 2 weeks ago. He faced 4 batters and walked 3 of them. He has 6 walks on the season, just 2 strikeouts. A guy whose control can be erratic, but it's going to be more of a staff day. They're expecting him to only go a couple innings, so we'll see a lot of arms from the Wareham bullpen. On Cotuit's side, Zane Collins, a veteran pitcher that Mike Roberts has grown to trust more and more throughout the season. He's had some good outings against Wareham this year, going all the way back to the second game of the season. And here at the second to last game at Lowell Park, he'll look to keep the good times moving.
Collins on the mound to start. He'll be facing a Wareham potent offense that's second in the league in batting average. Coached by Don Sneddon in his second season, in his starting lineup goes like this. Isaac Collins, the right fielder from Creighton, bats first. Oliver Dunn, the second baseman, bats second. Austin Shenton, a prime candidate for Cape League MVP, he's a DH batting third. Jeremy Idens, the left fielder from UCLA, bats cleanup. Drew Millis is the catcher, he bats fifth. Lyle Lockhart Jr., the first baseman, batting sixth. Luke Roscom is the third baseman, batting seventh. Ryan Kreidler, the shortstop, batting eighth. And Skylar Hunter, the center fielder from Purdue, bats ninth. Behind the right-hander in Jack Ralston, who will be the Wareham starter, as Isaac Collins digs in, batting from the right side against the southpaw and Zane Collins. 6'2", 220 pounds, a rising senior at Wright State University in Ohio. The left-hander winds up on the mound and deals in. First pitch fastball that's bounced straight up the middle. Backhand pick by Wood, who turns and musters one over to first, but his throw not in time, and on the first pitch, Wareham with the base runner. Collins the leadoff single. Kettleers starting defense today around the infield. Brady Smith at third, Mike Salvatore at short, Corey Wood at second base, and Michael Tolia, the first baseman. No changes for the Kettleers infield. Zach Humphreys is the starting catcher today. In the outfield, Peyton Burdick in left field, Duke Ellison center, and Will Robertson in right. Here's Oliver Dunn, who takes the first pitch slider on the inside corner, strike one. Kettleers applying a mini shift on the infield. Mike Salvatore, the shortstop, closer to the second base bag, and then Corey Wood shaded over a little bit to the right. Tolia holding on at first as Collins takes his lead. Good breaking ball once again from Zane, who's got Oliver Dunn in an 0-2 count. That slider working early. No balls, 2 strikes, and nobody out here in the top of 1 as Wareham has their leadoff runner aboard. 6th meeting between these two sides this year. Gatemen leading the overall series 3-0-1. There's a ball in the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Dunn. Kettleers getting the win in the extra inning game last Saturday. And then beforehand, a tie here at Lowell Park, 2-2, a few days before. There's a pick over to first as Collins checks on Isaac Collins, the outfielder from Creighton, who's been a mainstay in this Wareham lineup. It's Oliver Dunn at the plate right now. Second baseman from Utah, batting .226, a home run and 8 RBI on the year. Zane set on the mound, closed off and to the plate. Fastball jammed him. A little pop-up right into the breadbasket catch of Collins off the mound. There's out number 1. Isaac Collins, the base runner, stays put at first. And a good job by Collins to go up and in that time on Oliver Dunn.
Definitely. Key to get outs early against this Wareham offense. This season when they've played Cotuit, in each of the last 3 games, they've got a base runner on right away. Isaac Collins, a key figure in that. And this Wareham team, they like to score early and often. They've scored first in 18 out of their 24 wins. They like to jump out to those early leads. So this first inning against the top of the order is crucial for Zhang.
Runner on first, 1 out here in the top of 1 as Austin Shenton takes a slider in the dirt for ball 1. Shenton, the switch-hitting DH who bats from the left side here from Florida International. Boy, has he boosted his draft stock here in the Cape League this summer. A .358 batter, 3rd best in the Cape League, 27 runs driven in, 2nd in the league. His .467 OBP is also 3rd in the Cape. Kid from Washington who plays his baseball in Miami, Florida. Athletic, he can play 3rd base, gets the call at DH today, broke out of a big slump with a 3-for-5 2-home run performance with 4 driven in the win against Hyannis. A little excuse me tapper foul at the plate as it eventually trickled onto the mound, but Collins fields it, but to no avail as foul ball is a call. Umpires today, Tim Carey behind home plate. Larry Rosenberg was here yesterday behind the plate. He moves over to first base, not the same 3-man crew, but Rosenberg sticking around here in Cotuit, and Mike Robideau is the 3rd base umpire. Shift still on in the infield. Salvatore playing straight up the middle at short. Breaking ball, hit high in the air, straightaway center from Shenton. Ellis twisting back. He's under it. He makes the grab for out number 2. So after the first pitch infield single to Isaac Collins, it's Zane Collins on the mound, who's retired the last 2 batters and now gets to face the cleanup man in Jeremy Idens. No score here in the top of 1 at Lowell Park on a sunny day. Gorgeous for baseball. Blue sky overhead. A few lighter clouds. About 80 degrees at first pitch. Jeremy Idens, the left fielder from UCLA, bats from the right side, but first to pick over to first from Collins. Unable to get the runner. Idens leading the Cape in RBI with 29. And what's amazing about that, Mark, is he's done all of that without a home or just 1 home run this season. The lanky left fielder bats from the right side. Here's the first pitch from Zane. Slider in the dirt. He's been going with that early. It's ball 1. Collins a long look in. Now comes set from the stretch. Closed off looking at the runner. The 1-0. Turned on the ground towards third. Good pick by Brady Smith. Low throw, dug out by Tolia, and the nick of time to get the runner. And Zane Collins works a scoreless first inning, going around a leadoff infield single. And the Kettleers with a chance at the plate when we return here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Scoreless between Cotuit and Wareham.
And we're live.
The Kettleers coming to the plate for the first time this afternoon on a sunny day at Lowell Park. Bottom of the first and no score between Cotuit and the Wareham Gatemen. Starting lineup for the Kettleers, coached by Mike Roberts. No changes in this stretch of 7 wins in the last 8 games. The only swapping position has really been the catcher spot. And here's the starting 9. Will Robertson, the leadoff man in right field. Zach Bierman bats second. He's a DH. Michael Tolia, the first baseman, bats third. Mike Salvatore is the shortstop. He's a cleanup man. Duke Ellis bats fifth and plays center field. Corey Wood is the sixth man. He plays second base. Peyton Burdick in left field batting seventh. Zach Humphreys, the catcher, batting eighth. And Brady Smith is the third baseman batting ninth. Once again for Cotuit, Robertson in right, Bierman the DH. Tolia at first, Salvatore at short, Ellis in center, Wood at second, Burdick and left, Humphreys behind the plate, and Smith at third base behind the left-hander Zane Collins, who threw a scoreless first inning. Doing a nice job as the Kettleers working around a leadoff infield hit, and they'll have a chance here to break through against the right-hander Jack Ralston, 6'6", 235 pounds from UCLA. Getting his first start on the Cape League season, comes into today with no record and a 10.38 ERA, just what the Kettleers would like to hear for this offense that has been so productive as of late.
Absolutely, a guy with no experience this season starting, and at UCLA, he had a 6.44 ERA. He's got a lot of summer league experience on his belt. 2 summers ago in the Northwoods League, last summer in the Great West League. He just hasn't quite seen the results this year, but maybe being in the starting spot is what Don Sneddon has in mind to rejuvenate Ralston, and he'll face a pesky top 3 to start.
It's Will Robertson who will lead things off for Cotuit, the right fielder from Creighton, who bats .271 with 3 home runs and 25 RBI on the season. Entering today with a 5-game hitting streak, one of many Cotuit starters that have hitting streaks or on-base streaks. And hang on a second, home plate umpire Tim Carey signaling to Coach Mike Roberts, who was about to take his perch as a third base coach, that you got to put the helmet on. He had just his regular cap on, and now he puts the protective helmet on, as Coach will go on down with his signature leopard print notebook into the back pocket, taking notes and making sure he's on his toes throughout the game. First pitch, grounded right back up the middle by Robertson and into center field. So the Kettleers answering what Wareham did in the top of the first. 1 pitch and 1 single for Robertson, who's extended his hitting streak to 6 games right off the bat.
How about Will Robertson in the leadoff spot? Another one of the Kettleers who went through a little bit of a midseason slump and has since seen his numbers pop back up. 1 pitch, 1 hit, and a good start for Cotuit.
Another left-handed bat steps in at Zach Bierman. He was the power for the offense yesterday. 3 RBI, including a solo home run, his 5th of the season. Runner on first and nobody out. The pitcher Ralston will turn back and check on Robertson, but to no avail. Bierman from Coastal Carolina, the DH, also on a 5-game hit streak. As the right-hander and Ralston come set out of the stretch, now to the plate. Swing and a miss, good fastball for strike 1. Starting Wareham defense, it's Luke Roscom, who plays third base. Ryan Kreidler at shortstop. Oliver Dunn is the second baseman, and Lyle Lockhart Jr. at first base. The catcher is Drew Millis as Ralston comes set. He looks in, the 0-1. Outside with a changeup, 1-1 the count on Bierman. Jeremy Idens, the starting left fielder for Wareham. Skylar Hunter in center field, and Isaac Collins, the little right fielder. Leadoff man aboard for Cotuit here in the bottom of 1, no score. Ralston at 6'6", will turn and look back at Robertson at first, but he's back in standing. Jack Ralston from Valencia, California, a Los Angeles kid, staying home for college with the Bruins. Here's his 1-1. Bierman hits it in the air and foul on the left side, out of play.
I like Bierman in the 2-hole. It's been clicking as of late, the 5-game hit streak. We've seen him in the position in the lineup fluctuate a lot throughout the year. Leadoff maybe didn't work out for him, but in the 2-hole, sandwiched in between guys like Will Robertson and Michael Tolia, we're really seeing Zach Bierman flourish with that 5-game hit streak.
The 1-2. Bierman takes on the outside corner. Strike 3 called. A backwards K for Jack Ralston. And there's out number 1 here in the bottom of the first. So a runner still on first base for Cotuit. 1 down here in the bottom of 1, and Michael Tolia will stand in. Does a couple of forward folds. Gets loose and will bat from the left side here, the switch hitter. Out of UCLA, facing off against his Bruin teammate and Jack Ralston on the mound. Tolia from Gig Harbor, Washington, trying to take on a fellow West Coast fella. As Ralston comes set and deals in a fastball off the plate, ball 1. Tolia an 8-game consecutive odd base streak. 0 for 3 yesterday with a walk, an RBI, and a couple of runs scored. Voted team MVP yesterday for the position players. Tolia back for his second summer with the Kettleers. The 1-0. Fastball just missing. 2 balls and no strikes. Nothing doing so far on the scoreboard. Bottom of the first. Runner on first base for the Kettleers and Will Robertson. 1 away and Tolia at the plate. Wareham with the infield at double play depth. The Gatemen wearing their alternate red uniforms with gray pants and the navy caps with the red Wareham W. Gatemen across the chest. Same kind of font as the Boston Red Sox logo. One of 3 templates that they do have, along with the home whites and the road navies. The 2-0 to Tolia, pinned on the outside corner, fastball for strike 1. Sunny day here at Lowell Park. Lots of fans filing in. Third base grandstand filled to the brim. Lots of caps and sunglasses over there with their backs to the sun. Robertson takes his lead at first, held on by Lockhart. Ralston set the 2-1. Upstairs with a 91-mile-an-hour fastball, and Tolia had the count on his UCLA teammate. 3 balls and 1 strike. Wonder who will get bragging rights here. Of course, this Wareham Cotuit series is sort of a Michael Tolia takes on the rest of the Bruins with Ryan Kreidler, another UCLA player at short, and Idens in left field. The 3-1. Hit on the ground, little slow tapper towards first, taken by Lockhart, who will get in front of the base path and just tag Tolia for the second out of the inning. Robertson moves up to second base.
All right, so a semi-productive out for Tolia. Gets the ball in play down the right field line, slow enough to surely advance Robertson over to second and put him in scoring position for Mike Salvatore.
Mike Salvatore, the cleanup hitting shortstop from Florida State, will dig in. Runner in scoring position with 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. 0-0 on the scoreboard. Salvi, 7 runs scored in his last 7 games. He's reached base in the last 7 games, obviously, as he takes a curveball on the outside corner for strike 1. 280 batter with 2 home runs and 14 driven in. He went 2 for 4, a couple of singles and a run scored yesterday. Looking to try and bring home Robertson, who's on second. Ralston the 0-1. In the dirt, good block by Millis to keep it in front. There's ball 1 on Salvi. This Kettleer offense has been hot. 7-1 in their last 8 games, 8-2 in their last 10 games. A big reason why. Averaging 7 runs a game over this 8-game stretch. The hottest hitting team in the Cape as of now. The 1-1. Swinging a foul tip on a fastball just in the dirt. Robertson thought it might have missed the bat as he tried to go over towards third base, but he'll trot back into second. Wareham on a 3-game winning streak. They had an off day yesterday as Monday was a makeup day for the Kettleers against the Brewster Whitecaps, in which Cotuit won 9-2. Also, the Hyannis Harbor Hawks beat the Orleans Firebirds 11-9. Wareham beat Hyannis in their last game on Sunday 10-6. Solidifying their argument to be the #1 seed in the Western Division. Runner on second, 2 outs. The 1-2. Salvatore holds up on a slider off the plate. Ball 2. Kettleers coming into today in 4th place in the West standings. 4 points back of Wareham with 3 more games to go. Robertson, the runner on second, 2 outs, and a 2-2 count. Here's the pitch. Salvatore just gets it off the end of the bat foul, and he stays alive. Salvi, one of the few players in this Kettleer lineup that wears the high socks. Sometimes you'll see Zach Bierman do it, but he's been going with a long pants look lately. Robertson wore the high socks against the Wareham Gatemen in that extra inning win, but he's gone long pants ever since. But Salvatore, always a high sock staple.
Burdick, he wears the high socks.
Ever since his hitting streak. Salvatore punches the 2-2 high in the air, arcing towards right field, and Collins is under it. He gloves it for the third out of the inning. So Wareham and Jack Ralston work around the infield hit as the Kettleers leave a runner in scoring position. And we're scoreless heading into the second. This is Cotuit Kettleers baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. The second inning here in Cotuit. No score between the Kettleers and the Wareham Gatemen, as Zane Collins, a left-hander from Wright State, will work his second inning. And what should be an abbreviated start today, we talked with Coach Mike Roberts in the pregame, and he said that with the playoffs approaching, want to make sure that arms are preserved, and it looks like Collins might only go a few innings today. Plenty of arms left in the bullpen to back him up after that. He worked around a leadoff base knock in the first, and he faces the middle of the Wareham order here, 5, 6, and 7. Drew Millis, Lyle Lockhart Jr., and then Luke Roscom. Millis, the catcher from Missouri State, will bat first. Lanky fella with the white arm sleeve on his front elbow. He'll bat from the right side, still getting his batting gloves on here as the home plate umpire, Tim Carey, is saying hang on here. Sometimes you'll struggle after getting the catcher's gear off in the last inning. It might take a little bit to get ready for action, but Millis on the first pitch here, hitting it high in the air. Into the left center alley, and Burdick tracks over to make the catch. One pitch and one out to start the second.
Yeah, Millis took a stinger with that catcher's gear last time these two teams got together, that extra innings win last Saturday night. Good to see he's okay.
Good job by Zane Collins to retire him there. Now Lyle Lockhart Jr., the first baseman, will step in. 2-11 batter with 2 home runs. 14 runs batted in on the season. Another right-handed bat as Collins delivers. First pitch slider way off the plate. Lockhart showing bunt, but pulled it back in time.
And Lockhart, one of 4 switch hitters in the lineup today for Wareham. That's why part of the reason they're so versatile. Second on the Cape in average, and it's because they have all these guys who can switch hit.
Ground ball to third. Good field by Smith. Zips the throw. Chest level to Tolia. Very good throw from corner to corner. 5-3 on out number 2.
How about this beard?
Oh boy, yeah, Luke Roscom, the third baseman from Nebraska, with the big old beard as he will bat from the left side here. Adjust the batting gloves. Looked like he wrote something in the home plate dirt circle with the knob of his bat before he stood in at the batter's box. See some players do that. As Zane deals in a slider just above the belt for ball 1. 0-0 here at Lowell Park. Top of the second inning. Bases are cleared. 2 outs with Wareham at the plate. 1-0 from Zane. There it is. Change up right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike. Kettleers have won 3 in a row. Wareham's won 3 in a row as well. As a 1-1 lasered off foul into the netting, protecting those fans on the third base side. Zane ahead in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Both teams putting their leadoff men aboard in the first inning, but failing to bring them home. Here's the 1-2. Check swing, got him. Nice sinker, hard from Zane Collins to strike out Luke Roscom and put down Wareham in order. Middle of the second inning, and the Kettleers will have another shot at the plate, heading to the bottom of 2 here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball. Duke Ellis leads things off here in the bottom of the second inning as the Kettleers will try and break through in a scoreless ball game against Wareham. 5, 6, and 7 due up to face the right-hander Jack Ralston, 6'6" from UCLA, just making his first Cape League start on the season. Ellis, the Texas center fielder, bats from the left side as Ralston works out of the stretch and deals in a first pitch fastball just above the belt for ball 1. Kettleers getting the leadoff man aboard in Will Robertson in the bottom of the first inning, but stranded him at second base. And they'll look to go to work here with Ellis at the plate. 1-0. Fastball. Just cued off foul on the end of the bat. And out of play on the left side to even up the count. How about Duke Ellis? A 21-game on-base streak. The longest active streak now in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Went 2 for 4 with 2 ribbies yesterday. The 1-1. Takes a fastball at 90, just below the knees for ball 2. Duke, a very disciplined batter at the plate, 19 walks to just 21 strikeouts. His 400-plus OBP leads this Kettleers team. Here's a 2-1. Up and in with another fastball, a good eye there, 3-1 the count. Duke, a midseason addition in July. He's come on and reached base in every single start he's had since then. The lanky outfielder from Texas at 6'3" with the open stance right here. The 3-1. Hit in the air, straightaway center. But playable for Skylar Hunter. He reaches up and makes the catch for out number 1.
You know what that was?
A golden out.
A golden out?
Yeah. A number 8 flying out to number 8 out there. Center fielder. Of course, Sam's patented golden out. You should take that on
Should I trademark that?
Yeah, you should.
Oh, you know, Mark Cuban might bite on that one.
Maybe make a system of scorebooks. Make your own Bob Carpenter
with where you mark
scorebook.
golden out.
Yeah.
G-O, golden out.
Here's Corey Wood, who takes ball 1. No score here in the bottom of the second inning. 1 out, and Corey Wood at the plate, the second baseman from Coastal Carolina. Talk about another guy who can get on base, his 395 OBP, second on this Cotuit side. Ralston's 1-0 misses. Couldn't quite find the fastball there, low and in. 2-0 the count on Woody. Knows how to get ahead in the count, knows how to battle back when he's down in the count. It's 26 walks on the season, second best in the Cape. Ralston's 2-0, bounced high up the middle. Could be a tough play for Kreidler on the run. The shortstop comes flying in and makes the throw On to first, just in time to retire Wood. Very bang-bang play. That was a high bouncing ball that was on the second base side. Kreidler, the shortstop, took charge of it and made the play from there for out number 2.
What a play from Kreidler. You got to credit the authority. That easy for Dunn to make that play, but Kreidler said, that's my ball, and I'm going to come get it. He used all of his forward momentum to get the ball in quick, and that momentum took him all the way from deep in the shortstop hole all the way to the first base bag.
Now Peyton Burdick with 2 outs and the bases clear. He takes a slider for strike 1. Bird recently named the Cape Cod Baseball League's Player of the Week for his performance that he's turned in over the last 7 days. A 7-game hitting streak. 1 for 4 yesterday with a run scored as he takes another curveball, this time on the outside corner again. No balls and 2 strikes. Birdie's boosted his average all the way to 269, 5 home runs and 23 runs batted in. As Ralston, straight up from the stretch, kicks and deals. Swing and a miss. Got him on the fastball there. A 3-pitch strikeout to retire the side. So still no score between these 2 ball clubs as we venture on to the 3rd. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
No score between the Kettleers and the Gatemen. Here at Lowell Park, the last matchup of the regular season between these two remains to be seen if these two will get together when the postseason comes around. Game 1 of the postseason on Saturday. This is one of the final 3 games of the regular season, and we appreciate you listening or watching wherever you are. Sam and Sam here on the call for this beautiful, beautiful afternoon here in Cotuit. About 75 degrees, sunny, blue skies overhead, few white wisps of clouds in between all the blue, and Zane Collins back on the bump for this 3rd inning. Nearly identical starts for both sides. Both leadoff hitters to start the game. The pair of Creighton Blue Jay roommates in Isaac Collins and Will Robertson led things off with singles in the 1st. And then the pitchers, Collins and Ralston, proceeded to retire the side as Ryan Kreidler fouls one off. And then identical 2nd innings, fly out, ground out, strikeout for both Wareham and Cotuit. No score, 1 hit for each side. Here in the top of the 3rd, and it's Kreidler, Hunter, and Collins to face off against Zane Collins, who watches Kreidler send a slow roller over to Corey Wood, who picks it up and throws to Tolia. In time to retire Tolia's UCLA teammate Ryan Kreidler. There's 1 gone here in the 3rd.
Nice defense by Woody there. Had to be quick. That ball was coming in hot on the ground. Ranges to his left, makes a nice play. You know that Corey Wood, he's a good defender out there. He's a little good defender.
He's flashed the leather as of late as Skylar Hunter steps in. He looks at ball 1 outside. Hunter out of Purdue, one of 2 Big Ten guys in the lineup today for Don Snedden's Gatemen, along with Nebraska's Luke Roscom. There's a swing and a miss, strike 1. Hunter, 207 hitter on the season, 10 RBIs. Switch hitter out of West Lafayette. And the 1-1 bounced in the dirt, 2-1 count on a curveball from Zane Collins. For Collins, this is his 5th start of the season. 4.44 ERA, 16 strikeouts. As he kicks and fires, the 2-1 is chopped foul on the left side. Brady Smith scoops it up in foul territory. and a 2-2 count. So in terms of the significance of this ball game, the Kettleers already locked up the playoff spot, but they can still jockey for better position within the West. If the season ended today, Wareham would be first and Cotuit would be fourth. The two would get together for a first-round playoff matchup. 2-2, curveball outside, count runs full. But the Kettleers have the same number of points as Falmouth, tied for third right now, and Hyannis just 2 points up. Here's the full count offering. It's high for ball 4, and Skylar Hunter draws a walk. So all those Western Division teams can still move around quite a bit. Only 4 points, which is the equivalent of 2 games, separate the first place Wareham Gatemen and the fourth place Kettleers. The Kettleers have had the most success in the West this season against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks with 4 wins and just 2 losses. Wareham and Falmouth have had Cotuit's number. Isaac Collins now already with a single today, takes ball 1 outside with the runner at first. Collins out of Creighton, little guy, about 5'8", wearing number 10, the cranberry red Wareham alternate uniforms. As Collins deals the 1-0, throwback to first from Humphreys, not in time to get the runner. It was a ball high to make a 2-0 count. Infield at double play depth for Cotuit, Tolia holding the runner on. Brady Smith at third, and normal depth over in the shadows by Wareham third base coach Mike Mobbs. 2-0 is just a pitch or a throw over to first. Collins sending it to Tolia, but Hunter not biting.
You like cranberries, by the way?
You know, not a big fan of the cranberry itself, but a cranberry sauce or a cranberry ice cream. 2-0, foul tip straight back, and Collins dropped to his knee on that swing and a miss. How about you?
I don't mind a cranberry, not bad.
Like a full, like a real cranberry or
yeah,
a dried?
not bad.
Really? Okay.
Not
I like
not my
craisin.
favorite berry, but it's not bad.
What about a
Craisin's
craisin? You know, craisins, I used to think they were a hybrid between cranberries and raisins. Runner off and going, the pitch high, the throw to second off target, and Skylar Hunter slides in with the first stolen base of the afternoon. I used to think they were a hybrid, half cranberry, half raisin, but they're just dried cranberries.
Yeah.
And they're delicious.
I would have thought the same, too. A raisin, you know, I'm not a big raisin guy, though.
I'm a raisin guy. Well, I learned quickly after I arrived on Cape Cod. I don't know if you've ever had ants on a log.
Oh, yeah.
Celery, peanut butter, raisins. The Cape Cod ants on a log is craisins. Pitch to Collins. Rocketed high and far, deep left field. Burdick back on the wall. He makes the catch. Throw to third as Hunter is tagging. Not quite in time. Hunter into third. But a big save there for Peyton Burdick on a ball that off the bat looked like it might be the second home run of Isaac Collins' season.
Yeah, big save by Burdick there. In the shadows where the warning track would be at Level Park. Of course, there is none, but just near the fence. Thankfully, Collins got underneath that one just enough to where it sort of dropped in and didn't get out of the yard. And a runner on third, no harm done with 2 outs.
Shift for Oliver Dunn, who takes ball 1 low. So the Cape Cod ants on a log, craisins, a must try. Runner on third with 2 outs. Pitch to Dunn in there for strike 1. 73-mile-an-hour curveball from Zane Collins. Not a full shift being applied on the Utah Ute, but just ever so slightly to the right. Big hole on the left side of the infield as Zane spikes one in the dirt to make it a 1-1 count with 2 outs. No score yet between Wareham and Cotuit. Top of the third. The last matchup of the season between these two teams. 3 wins for Wareham so far. 1 for Cotuit and 1 tie as Collins zips in another curveball a bit outside for ball 2. A lot of curveballs so far today for Zane, favoring the off-speed stuff against this Wareham lineup. Not a lot of hard contact for Wareham either. Just 1 hit so far. The 2-1. Big swing and a miss, making Dunn look silly there on another curveball low and away. And a 2-2 count. After this one, a home and home with the Falmouth Commodores. And now amended on the scoreboard, 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes. As Collins comes set, here's the pitch to Dunn. Outside, ball 4, and Oliver Dunn takes the walk. Runners now on the corners with 2 outs. On the full count offering from Zane Collins, that'll give way to Austin Shenton, the first big chance for Wareham today, their biggest bat coming up, with runners on the corners. Shenton, a Cape League MVP candidate, right up there with Matthew Barefoot of Hyannis, Noah Campbell of YD, who's in line to be just the second 400 batter in the last 4 years in the Cape. He's got a 406 average with 3 games left. And Shenton, who once batted 400 but has since seen his average plummet down to 358, takes strike 1. Of course, if you're in position to have your average, quote, plummet to 358, you're probably having a pretty good season, and this guy's been up there with the best. Third baseman out of FIU takes ball 1 outside. Originally at Bellevue College in Washington, community college in the Seattle area, where they actually used wood bats, so Shenton was very familiar with wood bats, then transferring to FIU, back to aluminum. Here on the Cape with the wood bat, he's been dynamite as he takes ball 2, another curveball outside, 2-1 count. It's Skylar Hunter at third, Oliver Dunn at first. For Austin Shenton, his batting average, third on the Cape. Tied for second with 27 RBIs. His teammate on deck, Jeremy Idens, leads the Cape in that category as Shenton slashes 1 foul. Out of play, it's a 2-2 count. Not only the hits for Shenton, but also 25 walks on the season. That's third on the Cape. Putting together an impressive resume, he'll turn into the league office for Cape MVP. 2-2 with runners on the corners. Here comes the pitch from Zane. It's in the dirt for ball 3, and a big pitch coming up with a full count. 2 outs, no score yet between Wareham and Cotuit here in the third. Down the home stretch of the 2018 season, both teams jockeying for position to try and set up a postseason run. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Runners take their leads, and they go. The pitch on the outside corner. He got him on strikes. Zane Collins rings Austin Shenton up on the full count offering, and we've still got no score through 2.5 innings here at Lowell Park. It's 0-0 between Wareham and Cotuit here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. For Wareham, that's it. For Jack Ralston, the UCLA Bruin was excellent. 2 innings, he gave up just 1 Cotuit hit, no runs, and he struck out 2 without yielding any walks. And he'll give way to his UCLA teammate in Ryan Garcia, a familiar name for the Kettleers. He started against Cotuit right here at Lowell Park on July 12th in the 2-2 tie between the two sides. Garcia was excellent, giving up just 1 run on 2 hits. He struck out 4 and walked 2. He comes in as the ace in the Wareham pen 6 starts on the season. This is his first appearance out of the bullpen. He's got a 1.33 ERA, 33 strikeouts. That's near the top of the Cape. 6'1", 185-pound junior, a hard-throwing righty, comes from Sierra Madre, California. Last season at UCLA held his opponents to a 188 opposing batting average. And he'll face off against the bottom of the lineup here in Zach Humphreys, Brady Smith, then back to the top with Will Robertson. First pitch strike from Garcia, 0-1 the count. Sam was commenting on how these Cotuit Wareham games seem to be Michael Tolia against the rest of the UCLA team. Already 2 UCLA pitchers on the bump and 2 in the field. 0-1 to Humphreys. Smacked foul, pop up off to the right side, out of play, 0-2 count. Humphreys, a .218 hitter on the season, one of the Kettleers' 3 All-Stars, alongside Stephen Schock, who was recently named team MVP for the pitching staff. 3 home runs for Humphreys, 7 RBI. Zach Bierman, the other Cape League All-Star from Cotuit. 0-2 to Humphreys, dips down low, 1-2 the count. Garcia was one of the Wareham All-Stars. Pitched an inning, struck out 1, gave up no runs in the All-Star game. 4-3 win for the West. Here comes the 1-2 from Garcia. Slashed foul. Out of play over the first base grandstand. 1-2 the count. Another good crowd on hand here at Loa Park for this Tuesday afternoon ball game. Third base grandstand, the wooden one, chock full of fans. The metal first base grandstand about 3/4 full. As the 1-2 comes into Humphreys, curveball high, ball 2. Of course, as per usual, lots of lawn chairs, beach chairs, lining the third base side. Fans perched up on the green fencing down the first base side on a beautiful sunny day here at Loa Park. The 2-2 swung on, tapped into right field. It's just caught by Isaac Collins. His sunglasses fall off as he makes a diving effort to rob Zach Humphreys of a base hit.
Wow, nice job by Isaac Collins out there and right. Certainly robbed him. Thought that ball was going to get down for sure. A nice opposite field poke by Humphreys, but sometimes that happens. You can't control that. You can't control what the defense does. And a wonderful play by Isaac Collins. Diving in, sacrificing the body. Shades fell off the brim of his cap. Doesn't matter anyway. He makes the play for out number 1.
And for an outfielder that has to put a little extra juice on plays like that because of his height, as Brady Smith fouls one off, 0-1 the count. Collins about 5'8". Lunging for that one, a web gem to start this third inning. No score between Cotuit and Wareham. And Brady Smith, the 9-hole hitter, up now out of Florida. He leads the Kettleers with a .333 batting average as he takes the 0-1 inside. 1-1 the count from Ryan Garcia.
Brady Smith has been so sneaky good at the plate. I know he has a little less at-bats than the rest of the roster with 66, but 22 hits in those at-bats.
1-1. It's the outside corner on a breaking pitch, 1-2.
He's just a disciplined hitter that makes contact. He's got good power as well. Sees the ball, well coached by Scott Sullivan down in Florida.
Now the 1-2 to Smith, slice foul onto the right side. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Brady Smith seems like one of those players who is a young guy. He'll be a sophomore next year, and with all the tools he learned this year on the Cape, he'll go back to Florida next year a much better player.
Absolutely.
He'll be greatly improved. As the 1-2 comes into Brady, and he slashes it foul into right field in the corner near the Wareham bullpen. 1-2 the count. And that's one of the great things about the Cape is these guys are learning so much, improving so much. They'll go back to their respective universities and show all that improvement.
Yeah, this is a guy that started his freshman year with Florida. He's a utility guy, as we've mentioned so many times. He can play anywhere on the infield, even catches a little bit. So he got some time at first base this past year for the Gators.
1-2 to Brady, chopped third base side. Luke Roscom gloves it and throws to first for the second golden out of the ball game. As Brady Smith grounds out to third, his own position that he's been so excellent at. I mean, the fact that we haven't talked about him much at third for a guy who isn't a primary third baseman who can play first, second, catcher. We've seen him at all of those places this season. but he's been so flawless at third. And that's been another key for this Cotuit team during these 7 wins in 8 games. 7 of the last 8 games, they've had 0 errors as a team, as Robertson smashes one deep into right field over the head of Collins for a base hit. Bounces off the wall, now Robertson going for 2. Head first slide, and they got him. Isaac Collins, a perfect throw to Ryan Kreidler at second base to get Will Robertson searching for extra bases, and Wareham shuts down Cotuit to end the 3rd inning. Still 0-0 between the Gatekeepers and the Kettleers. We will return after this quick break here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Kettleers looking to protect their house here against the Wareham Gatemen. One of the final 2 games to close out the regular season at Lowell Park. We'll head to Falmouth tomorrow, then back at Lowell Park to close out the 2018 regular season on Thursday before the playoffs on Saturday. As Zane Collins kicks and deals, first pitch swinging from Idens. It's a foul ball grounded down the third base side. So how about the throw from Isaac Collins to gun down his Creighton roommate in Will Robertson? A good hit for Robertson over Collins' head in right field. Collins caught him hoping for extra bases and sent a nice throw to second. Now a pop-up off the bat of Idens, and Robertson will come over and make the routine catch on the foul line for out number 1. That's one of the great things about the Cape. You can have college teammates, even college roommates or best friends on enemy lines. One makes a heck of a play against the other, and Will's probably never going to hear the end of that one from his roommate Isaac Collins.
No, he won't. And Robertson was up against it on that potential double, too, because he hit the ball so hard, so fast, that there just wasn't enough time for it to hang up in the air, even though it went off the wall. And Collins, his roommate, able to get back there quick enough to get the ball in his hand and make a great throw.
Now Drew Millis out of Missouri State with the 1-0 count. Collins pitches, pulled the string on him there. Big swing and a miss from Millis, 1-1 count. Millis, the catcher, switch hitting out of Missouri State. A rising junior there, and he's improved greatly throughout his Missouri State career. As Collins sends in strike 2, Millis just a .224 hitter his freshman season. That blossomed up to .321 as a sophomore. And part of the big reason for that was he gained 20 pounds, put on some muscle, became a much more powerful presence as the 1-2 gets a swing and a miss for strike 3, but a drop third strike. Humphreys fires to first, just barely in time to get the runner, and there's a quick 2 outs for Zane Collins.
Good job by Zane Collins. He's been looking good today, and this is what Cotuit wants to see out of him. This is a prospective guy who's going to be a number 1 or number 2 in the postseason. They want his intensity. He has the experience. He's been around before, an all-star last year, back in the rotation after a bullpen stint, improving with Coach Jerry Weinstein with the pitchers and catchers, and he's doing a nice job today against a really good Wareham lineup.
Now Lyle Lockhart Jr., another switch hitter in the Wareham lineup. 1-0 count as Collins fires in a first pitch ball low. Lockhart Jr., the first baseman out of Houston. 1-0 from Collins. Hooks inside on a curveball. 2-0 count. Kettleers wearing those pristine home white pinstripe uniforms. Maroon Cotuit caps with the Navy Old English C across the front as ball 3 comes into Lockhart in the dirt, blocked by Humphreys. Wareham usually on the road wears the road Navy uniforms, but today they're wearing the alternate red cranberry uniforms. Navy Gatemen across the front as Zane kicks and deals the 3-0 in there for strike 1. What do you think of these reds, these cranberry reds? An alternate uniform.
They're not bad. I don't think they're anything out of this world, but they're pretty good.
3-1 with 2 outs. Misses outside, ball 4. There's a 5-pitch walk for Lyle Lockhart Jr., the cranberry uniform-clad Houston Cougar, now aboard at first base. That'll give way to Luke Roscom out of Nebraska. The Cornhusker with the fiery red beard. Playoff beard, maybe, in advance of the playoffs. 237 hitter on the season. Also a utility guy, kind of Brady Smith-esque, as Collins checks on the runner with a throw to first. We've seen Roscom at catcher this season, but today at third base, out of Chaska, Minnesota. Was an all-Big Ten freshman his first season in Lincoln, as Zane checks on Lockhart Jr. once again. No score between Wareham and Cotuit. Top of the 4th, 2 outs. Roscom at the plate. The pitch from Collins, swing and a miss on some off-speed stuff. 0-1 the count. Roscom wearing number 14. He's got the bright red Nebraska cleats, Adidas, with a bright red shin guard and a black arm sleeve on his back elbow. 0-1. Dips down low, ball 1. One ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. Top of the 4th on a beautiful Tuesday here at Loa Park as Zane fires down low again, ball 2. Hard to believe, just 2 more regular season games, including this one here at Loa Park. Mike Roberts talking to us before the game, saying how much he appreciates the chance to play at Lowell Park. Such a beautiful ballpark, no commercial buildings around. It's just sandwiched by the big green trees. 19 acres deep into the outfield that will never be renovated. Just those big green trees, creating such a beautiful backdrop as the 2-1 comes down low, 3-1 the count. Feels like a beautiful little enclave. Lowell Park, the American flag in left center field. Green Lowell Park scoreboard. Reading 3-1 the count, and the pitch fouled off straight back as it trickles to the backstop. And now a chance for Zane Collins to get out of this inning with the runner at first. It's a 3-2 count to Luke Roscom. Collins, the Wright State Raider, in his 2nd season in Cotuit. Primed to be one of the starters in the playoffs, comes set out of the stretch. Here's the 3-2, swung on and slashed into center field. Ellis charging in, he can't get to it. It bounces at his feet, a base hit for Luke Roscom. The hit and run was on there as Lyle Lockhart Jr. wheels all the way around from 1st to 3rd. So runners on the corners for Wareham with 2 outs, and that'll bring Jerry Weinstein to the mound for a visit with Zane Collins, and it seems like Jerry's going to turn towards the bullpen, pointing 2 fingers out to the left field Cotuit pen, and we'll have our first Kettleer pitching change of the ball game. Zane Collins exits with 2 outs here in the 4th. Runners on the corners for Wareham, and no score yet between these 2 sides. We'll be right back with the pitching change here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Pitching change for the Kettleers. That'll do it for Zane Collins. He gave up no runs on 2 hits in 3 2/3 innings. Also striking out 3 and walking a trio of Wareham Gatemen. Ryan Leffner in relief of Collins, the 6'1", 195-pound senior out of St. Louis, comes on with runners on the corners for Ryan Kreidler. With 2 outs, here's the first pitch. It's a curveball on the outside corner, called out for strike 1. Leffner has come on as an important piece in the bullpen as of late. 2-0, a 5.78 ERA, 20 strikeouts to 9 walks. 1 save on the season. That was a 6-out save last Wednesday against the Brewster Whitecaps. 0-1 to Kreidler. Swing and a miss. Pulled the string on him to make it 0-2.
It's a big spot out of the bullpen. Obviously, a committee day, an abbreviated start for Zane Collins. That's all right. He does well. Just a matter if Leffner can keep this a scoreless ball game with runners on the corners. And you got 2 strikes on the first batter you see. See if he goes right after him.
Runners on the corners. 0-2 count with 2 outs, and Leffner makes a double pickoff move, but ball doesn't leave his hand, and the count 0-2. It's Lockhart Jr. on at third, Roscom on at first. Lockhart with the walk. Roscom is single. That moved Mr. Lockhart Jr. from first to third. 0-2 the count. Leffner set. Out of the stretch with the high socks. Here's his pitch. Just outside, the runner going. A double steal attempt for Wareham as Humphreys throws to third, and Brady Smith misses the tag on Lockhart Jr. Now throw back to Salvatore. Lockhart in a pickle, and finally Zach Humphreys applies the tag on Lyle Lockhart Jr. for a confusing and funky third out of the inning. Either way, still no score between Cotuit and Wareham. A base running mistake from the Gatemen ends this threat, and it's 0-0 as we march into the bottom of the 4th. This is Cotuit Kettleer Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Bullpen day for Wareham, so the pitching carousel in full effect as Ryan Garcia comes out and makes way for another California pitcher in Jared Horn, not from UCLA, but from Cal, one of the Golden Bears at 6'4", 225. He's a rising junior at Cal Berkeley from Napa, California. Wonder if he's taken any good trips to Napa Valley. He's got a 1-2 record on the season, 4.68 ERA. He struck out 35 and walked 15. And the Kettleers have seen him this season on July 13th, the 8-2 win for Wareham. He went 3 innings, just gave up a run on 2 hits, striking out 7 and walking 2. He'll look to repeat that kind of success against the meat of the Kettleer order, starting with Zach Bierman, followed up by Michael Tolia and Mike Salvatore. Horn, big number 34, kicks and deals a first pitch fastball on the inner part of the plate, 92-mile-an-hour gas, an 0-1 count. Nothing between the Kettleers and the Gatemen. 2 hits for both sides, no errors yet today. 0-1 to Bierman, hit high and far, deep center field. Hunter ranging back, and he makes the catch right at the wall. A hard hit for Zach Bierman. stays in the yard, and there's one away in the 4th.
Sounded great off the bat, but just a little too much room out there in center for Skylar Hunter, who does well to run back and make the catch. Get the feeling that one home run might be enough to win this game. Only 2 hits between either side, and we're a couple outs away from wrapping up 4 innings of play. Both pitchers from either side started the game, kept the opposing side in check, and now it's a bullpen fest.
Here's Michael Tolia, who grounds one just foul. First base side, Lockhart Jr. thought it was fair, just to the right of the bag, so an 0-1 count. And no extra base hits yet today between either side. Just 4 singles. And extra base hits are what have been keying this Kettleer rally. Cotuit 7-1 over their last 8 games, 8-2 over the last 10. And in this stretch, they're averaging 4 extra base hits per game, over 7 runs per game. And as ball 1 comes high to Tolia, the team batting .312 over the last 10 games. I mean, those are kind of video game numbers, and only if you're really good at video games. This team is hitting its stride right now, and they'll look to continue that into the postseason, which begins Saturday. 1-1 the count with 1 out to Tolia. Pitch dips down low to make it a 2-1 count. Jared Horn against Michael Tolia. Wareham first in the West, 24-16-1. They've got 49 points. Cotuit 4th in the West with a 21-17-3 record, good for 45 points. Now a 2-1 count on Tolia. The Kettleers, check that, a 3-1 count. Kettleers still with an opportunity to aim as high as first place in the West. As Horn kicks and deals out of the stretch, Tolia, sharp ground ball, right side, dug out by Lockhart Jr. Underhand toss back to Horn in time for the out. So if the Kettleers win today, the situation would read as follows. They would need to win out their final 2 games against Falmouth, and they need Wareham to trip up one of their final 2 against Bourne. If that happened and the rest fell into place with Hyannis and Falmouth slipping, Kettleers have a chance to win the West. They could finish 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. Pretty much any team can. It's a wide open West, the Wild Wild West out here on Cape Cod. As Mike Salvatore takes ball 1 outside. Excited for the playoffs to start on Saturday. Kettleers back for the 2nd straight year. 6th appearance in the last 7. Looking for banner number 17. Ground ball off the bat of Salvatore again to first base. Dug up by Lockhart Jr., and he steps on the bag himself this time. There's out number 3, so a quiet inning for the Kettleers as Jared Horn sets them down in order. Still 0-0 between Wareham Gatemen and the Cotuit Kettleers. We'll be right back here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Top of the 5th inning, moving along quick here at Lowell Park. Scoreless ball game between the Wareham Gatemen and the homestanding Cotuit Kettleers, as Ryan Leffner, the right-hander from St. Louis, will work his first full inning. Came in for the last out with runners on the corners back in the 4th. Did his job. And now we'll face Ryan Kreidler, the shortstop from UCLA, then Skylar Hunter and Isaac Collins. 8, 9, and 1 in the Gatemen order as Kreidler takes a curveball on the outside corner, strike one. 0 for 1 on the day with a ground out to second. Kreidler, a .253 batter on the year. 2 for 4 with a home run and 2 runs scored yesterday. Takes a changeup in the dirt, 1-1 the count. Of course, Kreidler was at the plate to end off the last inning. But the Kettleers catching a man off third base and Lyle Lockhart Jr. A 2.5262 pickle to catch him stealing. Swing and a miss. Good change up there from left as he gets ahead on Kreidler. 1 ball and 2 strike. A little battle of the Ryans here.
25262.
That's how I scored it.
Is your zip code?
That's close to the Cotuit one, right?
02635,
it's like,
I believe.
Look it up. Look it up, my friend.
02635.
The 1-2. Curveball that just sweeps off the plate. 2-2 the count on Kreidler.
02635.
Wow.
That's our 91210.
Isn't that California?
Yeah, that's the show.
Yeah.
It's like a reality TV show.
The 2-2 from Leffner. Swing and a miss. He gets Kreidler on strikes. Good change up there. And left with the first out of the inning here in the 5th.
Good job, Leffner. He's one of those pitchers who has developed throughout this season. I'd put him in the category kind of with Bryce Jarvis, Griffin McLarty, some of these pitchers who, some of their first few outings, they got rung up a bit, but have really, really come into their own as the season's drawn on.
Now Leffner facing a left-handed batter in Skylar Hunter, center fielder from Purdue. Reached on a walk his last time up and was stranded at third. 1 out, nobody on, 1-0 the count as left deals in a breaking ball on the inside corner for strike one. Kettleers with a little bit of a shift as the shortstop Mike Salvatore playing closer towards second base. Right side of the infield normal, but a bigger gap on the left side of the infield between third and short. Swinging a foul on the 1-1, and Leffner ahead in the count once more. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ryan 2-0 on the campaign. A 5.78 earned run average, ERA. 24 innings pitched. He struck out 21 batters. Only walked 9, giving up 27 hits. And he did get 1 save, of course, in the win against Bourne. Curveball in there, strike 3 on Skylar Hunter. Make it back-to-back strikeouts for Ryan Leffner, and 2 away here in the 5th.
Really good pitch from Leffner, and mixing it up nicely as he gets Kreidler swinging on a curveball, and then that time Hunter looking. This guy's feeling it right now.
So Leffner retiring the first 2 he sees here in the 5th. Still a scoreless ball game, and the leadoff man Isaac Collins at the plate. He takes that curveball just off for ball 1. The right fielder from Creighton, 1 for 2 today. Infield single in the first pitch of the ball game, actually, and then flew out to left field in the 3rd. Left set, the 1-0. Fastball tailing towards straightaway center in the air, but Ellis makes the catch on the run to his right, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Ryan Leffner. And the Kettleers will come to the plate in the bottom of the 5th. Still no score between the Gatekeepers and the Kets here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Bottom of the fifth, and Cotuit at the plate. 5, 6, and 7 due up. Ellis, Wood, and Burdick. Face the right-hander from Cal, Jared Horn. Third pitcher that Wareham has used today. He's going to go for his second inning of work. No runs on 2 hits and no errors for both teams. The Kettleers will try and break through. Horn from the set and to the plate. 92-mile-an-hour fastball, called strike at the knees. Horn working out of the stretch with no runners on. Bullpen man who's appearing in his 9th game this season. The 1-0. Ellis takes. Fastball just at the shins for ball 2. So 2-0 the count on Ellis, as Duke will look to reach for the first time today. Swinging a fly ball, sinking towards shallow left center. It's down, a base hit. Duke Ellis with a leadoff single. And once again, the Duke on base for the 22nd game in a row. How about Ellis? He just does it again, the 3rd in the ball game for Cotuit.
Unbelievable. 22 games in a row. Every game he started this season, he's taken a trip to the base paths. He's 11 for his last 21 as well. Just red hot, peaking at the right time, carrying the Cotuit team to the home stretch.
Now a chance with the leadoff man aboard and nobody out for Corey Wood, as Ellis will stride back in safe to first. There's a pick over from Horn. Nearly got him. Duke wasn't really anticipating it, but he's safe. Wood 0 for 1 on the day, grounded to short. Another pick over to first, that time a little closer as Ellis dives back in at the last second. Horn very deliberate on the mound, very kind of punctuated with every movement that he makes. Looks in for the sign now to the runner, and then comes set real fast. Posts up that left leg. Here's the pitch. Wood takes it right down the pipe, 93 miles an hour, strike 1. Right-hander at 6'4", 225 pounds. Napa Valley kid, as Sam told you earlier in the 4th inning. It's a San Francisco area, the Valley.
NorCal.
Technology hotbed, as Wood takes a fastball in, ball 1.
Which valley is better, Silicon Valley or Napa Valley?
I have no idea. Is there a difference?
I believe so.
We'll have to look that up. With the runner on at 1-1. Wood takes, high and outside with a fastball. 2 balls and 1 strike. No score here in the bottom of the 5th. Kettleers with the sun setting down at Lowell Park, looking to make it 4 wins in a row. 8 wins in their last 9, as Ellis taking a modest lead, able to stride back into first. Another pick from Horn. Kettleers beating the Gatemen in their last meeting, 4-3 in 10 innings. Horn set the 2-1. Opposite field fly ball to left field, as Idens ranges over near the line to make the catch. Ellis will trot back in and tag at first. 1 down.
You in the mood for a little geography here?
Let's do it.
So, the Bay Area, of course, the San Francisco area. You can say Silicon Valley or Napa Valley. It depends which world you're in. If you're in the food and drink world, you can call it Napa Valley. And if you're in the techie world, you can call it Silicon Valley. This is what this article I'm reading says. This causes some confusion when tech meets foodie.
Wow. Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Another throw to check on Ellis at first. 1 out in the bottom of 5. Peyton Burdick, the batter, 0 for 1 with a strikeout today. Scoreless between Cotuit and Wareham, as Jared Horn, the Napa Valley kid, on the mound. And Ellis running, but Horn doesn't even throw. Standing still between first and second and in a rundown. Kreidler, the shortstop, pumps and then tags as Ellis tried to crouch down and duck under the tag, but just not able to escape, and Duke caught stealing, and that'll clear the bases with 2 outs.
Yeah, that one didn't work out for Dookie, but I loved the effort. He was really trying to get in and around the tag, at one point standing arms to his sides, straight up in a military stance. Once Horn came over to him, ducking down low. Appreciate the hustle there from Duke, but unfortunate to get the base runner off.
Horn set, the first pitch to Burdick, slashed off foul on the right side. He just has fun on the base paths, I feel. He's just a jokester, keeps everything light in the clubhouse and in the dugout. All the teammates feed off his energy. Horn, the pitcher in that rundown, ran straight at him and finally flipped it to Kreidler, the shortstop, who pumped and then eventually tagged. Breaking ball, slapped over foul on the left side by Burdick, out in front of it that time. 0-2 the count. Outfielder from Wright State, named the Cape League Player of the Week, much in part to his 4-for-4 performance on Sunday. A home run side of the Scheichel, as he doubled and tripled in that game, drove in 4. His second 4-for-4 performance of the year. The 2-strike pitch. Fastball up at the letters for ball 1. Birdie, of course, with the 3 home runs on opening day, driving in 7. Pretty darn crazy, his Cape League debut. Here's a 1-2. Curveball, inside corner. What a pitch by Horn. That's strike 3. Burdick goes down looking, and the side is retired as we move on to the 6th. Still nothing doing on the scoreboard between these two. Sam Brief with the play-by-play when we come back. This is Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Back at it and ready for the 6th inning of play today between the Cotuit Kettleers and the Wareham Gatemen. Beautiful Tuesday afternoon and a bunch of goose eggs on the scoreboard. No score yet between Cotuit and Wareham. Sam and Sam here on the broadcast. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're doing well, having a good start to your week. And now it's time for our broadcast trivia question. Focusing on today's starter for Cotuit, Zane Collins. So we've talked about this throughout the season, as Ryan Leffner is back on to work the 6th, and he sends in a first pitch ball to Oliver Dunn. How last year, because Collins is a returner, on July 3rd, he pitched the first complete game shutout for Cotuit since 2010, and that was against Wareham at Spillane Field. Ball 2 to Oliver Dunn, so our question today, and you can answer over on Twitter at Cotuit Kettleers. How many pitches did Zane Collins throw in that historic outing? The 2-0 from Leffner, high and tight, but gets in there on the zone, 2-1 the count. Is it A, 89 pitches, B, 101, C, 117, or D, 129? The 2-1 hits the inner part of the plate, 2-2 count. So
I already know the answer,
those
Sam.
are 4 totals.
I already know the answer. This is too easy. This is the easiest one you've ever given, ever.
The 2-2. Foul tip off the helmet of Zach Humphreys. Count stays pat. You already know.
The answer is C. It is C. 117 pitches. That is too easy, my friend. That is something that is actually Kettleer 2018 team related. So it's just too easy.
2-2. Ground ball. Michael Tolia gets it. Tap on first. There's one gone. I'm not telling you what the answer is.
It's
Sam's guess, keyword guess, is C, 117.
And even if I didn't know the exact amount of pitches, This is a terrible question in the terms of the question-making tactics. 89 pitches. It wasn't that. Everybody knows if you do 9 innings and 89 pitches, it wasn't going to be that.
Shenton line shot foul.
129 is just astronomical for a Cape League start. I know Zane didn't want to give up the ball, but still, man. All right, come on. And then B, 101 is just that's too much of a generic.
0-1 to Shenton low. 1-1 count with 1 out.
I am disappointed.
So you're guessing 117? You're taking a shot in the dark. 117
no,
pitches.
I just know this one because I know my Zane profile. I know Zane. I know.
All right. 1-1 the count, 1 out to Austin Shenton. Ryan Leffner kicks and fires, and he gets the ball low. 2-1 count. So if Sam gave his guess. If you want to give us your best guess, head over to our Twitter. And we'll give you the correct answer, which may or may not have been revealed yet.
Now, here's the thing. I'm going to get a whale of a question tomorrow.
2-1 to Shenton. Skied high, center field. Duke Ellis a few steps in. He reaches up with the black mitt and makes the catch for out number 2. Oh, you don't know what's coming tomorrow.
So you're already conceding victory to me.
No, it's not about victory. It's about the attitude of you thinking this is such a softball and, criticizing the question, which you've done a few times this year. All right.
I expected better, I will say.
Here's Jeremy Idens. 2 outs. Big hole up the middle for Idens with a little shift being applied. And strike 1 comes in. So I guess you want to call today a level 1 out of 5.
This was level 1.
Tomorrow's going to be level 6. Maybe 6.5.
I love it. Bring it.
0-1 to Jeremy Idens. Big cut and a miss. Strike 2. Leffner looking for his second consecutive 1-2-3 frame. This game's been level 1 for the pitchers. Pretty much nothing for either side offensively and a scoreless tie. 0-2 count with 2 outs to Jeremy Idens. As Ryan Leffner comes set and delivers. Swung on. Ground ball to the shortstop Salvatore. He inhales it. Throws it to Michael Tolia for out number 3. And for the second consecutive inning, Ryan Leffner sets down the Gatemen in order. Still a scoreless tie. Cotuit nothing. Wareham nothing. As we march on to the 6th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Have a hit chance raining out over Lowell Park, and the Kettleers trying to have a hit here in the 6th. They've had 3 today, just 2 for Wareham. Still no score between these two sides as Zach Humphreys will lead things off. He lays down a bunt foul down the first base line, 0-1 count. And Jared Horn back at it for the 6th inning. The Cal Golden Bear, hard-throwing righty at 6'4", 225 pounds. has been nearly perfect, giving up just one hit to the Kettleers. That was Duke Ellis, who was later caught stealing. And now Zach Humphreys will look to solve him. He'll be followed up by Brady Smith and Will Robertson here in the bottom of the 6th. Remember, you can answer our level 5 difficult, super hard trivia question over at Cotuit Kettleers on our Twitter page, twitter.com/Cotuit Kettleers. 0-1 to Zach Humphreys, looping curveball outside on the corner for strike 2. Humphreys 0 for 1 today, fly out against Ryan Garcia back in the 3rd inning. A bullpen day for the Wareham Gatemen as Horn snaps into position and fires in a fastball that's chopped up the middle, gobbled up by Kreidler. He makes a nice throw on the run to a stretching Lyle Lockhart Jr. And there's 1 out. 3rd pitcher of the day for Wareham. That's Jared Horn. Jack Ralston started things off with a solid 2 innings. Then Ryan Garcia pitched the 3rd. Jared Horn back on for his 3rd inning of work. It's been a try game so far, but a tie. Both teams with a big chance, and Brady Smith now up with 1 out. Smith, the Florida Gator, 3rd baseman, resting the black bat on his right shoulder, then picks it up and takes ball 1. Just 2 hits so far for Wareham. Isaac Collins and Luke Roscom. 3 for Cotuit, Will Robertson with 2, Duke Ellis with the other single. No extra bases today for either side. 1-0 high arcing curveball outside. 2-0 count to Brady Smith. Smith, the infielder out of Niceville, Florida. A Florida Gator. 2-sport athlete at Niceville High School, baseball and basketball. And he's facing off against Jared Horn here, who sets and fires the 2-0 down low. Now the count 3-0. Sunny day at Lowell Park, shadows creeping onto the left side of the field. The big green trees blocking out the sun on the left side of the infield and left field. Right field still splattered by sun. As Horn sends the 4th pitch low, ball 4, and Brady Smith trots to first with a 4-pitch walk as we turn it to the top of the lineup with Will Robertson coming up.
Okay, this could be the breakthrough moment for the Kettleers. Nobody getting on the scoreboard with a run so far today. Cotuit has not had a batter work a base on balls until now with Brady Smith at the top of the order with a man on and 1 out. Great situation to try and take a home lead. Both offenses pretty sluggish today.
Robertson at the dish. Horn's first offering turned inside. 5 consecutive balls for Jared, now with a 1-0 count.
You know both of these teams have the right competitive mindset, though, heading into the postseason. Wareham's in first place. They're trying to lock down that 1 seed, and these guys want to win it all. Cotuit wants to win it all, too. That's half the battle in summer ball, self-motivation. That's what we talked about with Mike Roberts before the game.
1-0 to Robertson, swung on, broken back, ground ball to second base. Dunn turns over to short for 1. The relay to first, not in time. Lyle Lockhart Jr. off the bag. Will Robertson runs over to get to first on the fielder's choice. Now 2 gone in the 6th. Zach Bierman coming up with Will Robertson at first.
To finish off that thought, though,
right.
Don Sneddon, after the win against Hyannis for Wareham, saying he has guys that are still complaining to him if they don't get a start. They all are trying to get into the starting 9. Everybody wants their shot at it. These guys want to play, and Cotuit, they have the mindset, if we're going to be here, let's take it. In the postseason, let's go get it. If you're going to make it, then make it count.
Zach Bierman takes strike 1. I think it was the great Nick Saban who said, if you're going to be here, be here.
No, that was my old high school football coach, actually, Jeff Harkin, that said that.
I thought you said it was Nick Saban.
No. Saban, I'm sure, has said something to that effect plenty of times, and I'm sure
probably in a more,
if you're gonna be here, then
in a more affirmative way. But the Kettleers truly being here over the last few. 7 of 8 they've won. As Bierman comes in, the 0-1 blasted deep right center field. Hunter on his horse, and that one is out of here. A 2-run shot for Zach Bierman. And the Kettleers take a 2-0 lead on Bierman's 2nd home run in the last 2 days. Bierman tapping helmets with Robertson and Tolia. He breaks the scoreless tie as the Kettleers take the lead in the bottom of the sixth, 2-0 on the Wareham Gatemen.
Well, what about Thor again? Zach Bierman with the Thor hair. He did it again. Second home run in 2 days. Deep blast to right center field. It was only a matter of time before he got a hold of one. His fly out to center field back in the fourth was a pretty well hit ball. He gets a hold of it there, and the Kettleers take the lead.
Now Michael Tolia doesn't bite on ball one. 2-run shot for Zach Bierman, number 6 on the season. He moves into a tie with Michael Tolia for the most home runs up and down this Kettleer roster with 6. Both of them now tied for third on the Cape with those 6 dingers. As ball 2 comes in low to Tolia, now Millis sensing the control, getting out of reach for Jared Horn, trots out to the mound for a visit. Nick Osborne still leading the Cape with 8 home runs for Orleans. He came in as a two-way guy who Kelly Nicholson, the Orleans manager, figured he'd be a primary pitcher, gave him a shot to hit, and Osborne blasted 8 homers in 19 games, and then got a minor league deal with the Oakland Athletics, now off the Cape, but could easily be the Cape League home run leader at the end of the season with 8 in just 19 games. As ball 3 comes into Tolia, looking for a walk. Big Mike with the high socks. 6 home runs to his own name. The 3-0 to Tolia, way inside. It gets past Millis. Ball 4 as Tolia sprints down to first, maybe expecting the ball to get away further from Millis. Millis corrals it, and Tolia stays put at first. Now a mound visit from Wareham's pitching coach. Trying to settle down Jared Horn. It's 2-0 Kettleers on top of Wareham. Here in the bottom of the 6th, Zach Bierman's 2-run home run a couple minutes ago making the difference. Breaking the scoreless tie, now 2 outs with a man on for Mike Salvatore. Mound visit over. Wareham's going to stick with their guy. This coaching staff led by Don Snedden, his 2nd season as Wareham's manager, 3rd season overall as a member of the Gatemen coaching staff. He was an assistant in 2016 under Jerry Weinstein, now Cotuit's pitching coach and bench coach. He was Wareham's manager that summer. Before pitching to Salvatore, Horn turns and throws to first to check on Tolia. Snedden, a very successful coach out in California. We've talked a lot about California, a lot of Californian pitchers today for Wareham as the Californian Horn turns for another pickoff attempt. Snedden, the winningest coach in California Community College history with over 1,000 wins out of Santa Ana Community College. He was there for 32 years as Salvatore takes one for a ride into center field. Hunter charging in, he can't get to it. Bounces for a single. Mike Salvatore at first. Tolia holds up at second, and the kettle's still cooking here with 2 outs in the 6th.
Mike Salvatore with just a little bloop single to center. Skylar Hunter playing way deep on that one. Normally he would probably come in and make that play, but unable to that time. The inning continues. Kettleers finally getting a groove on offense. Good to see here in the 6th inning where we were going to get into the late frames and it was going to be a matter of whose bullpen can hold up. But the offense forcing the issue here. A great job by Bierman on the home run, and then Tolia and Salvatore keeping the pressure on for Duke Ellis.
The Duke, he's been on base each of his last 22 games, and now a chance to extend Cotuit's 2-0 lead with 2 outs and the Mikes, Tolia and Salvatore, on the base paths. Millis catches ball 1 from Horn. Kind of an awkward play there. He was up high, looking for a high and outside, maybe pitch out. And then Horn sent it way low. Millis had to adjust, barely kept it in front of him. Now going up to the mound to say, what's up with that? Millis back behind the plate, perching down in the catcher's stance. The Missouri State Bear with the red and black catcher's gear. A 1-0 count with 2 outs, 2 runners on for Duke Ellis. Horn set out of the stretch. Here's his offering. Blows by Ellis with a fastball. Swing and a miss for strike 1. Some action in the Wareham bullpen. In the sun beyond the right field fence. A southpaw warming up for Wareham. Can't tell from our vantage point exactly who it is, but a lefty. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 gone in this inning as Ellis takes ball 2 low. 2-1 count now for the Duke, who's 1-2 today with a single and a flyout. A .293 hitter on the season. That average continuing to creep towards 300. He's got a .442 on base percentage coming in. That leads the Kettleers. Duke working a 2 ball, 1 strike count. Horn, the Cal Golden Bear, looking back at second, to the plate, back to second, and now back to the plate. Here's the offering. Time called before it came in. Ellis stepping out to adjust the black batting gloves, and the count stays put at 2 balls, 1 strike. Game 42 of the 2018 docket. Just 2 more after this one before the 44-game regular season closes up. Off day on Friday, and then playoff baseball on Saturday. The 2-1 to Duke Ellis. Swung on, hit hard into deep center field. Hunter ranging back, he makes the catch. That represents out number 3 as Jared Horn pitches out of the jam, but surrenders the first runs of the ball game. Zach Bierman, a 2-run shot into right center field, gives the Kettleers a 2-0 lead as we march on to the 7th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. The Lehigh Mountain Hawk, Jason Reynolds, on to work the 7th inning with the Kettleers suddenly on top 2-0 thanks to Zach Bierman's 2-run home run. Just the 2nd appearance of the season for Jason Reynolds. He was dynamite on Friday night in the jungle against Orleans. And he'll face off against Drew Millis to start this frame as Millis takes strike 1 on the outside corner. Reynolds, a late addition to the Kettleers squad, figures to be a key cog in the bullpen for the stretch run and the playoffs. 6'3", 200 pounds. He's a righty out of Lehigh, originally from Sicklerville, New Jersey. And he gets a ground ball from Millis over to Wood. Routine throw to first in time to get the out. It was an interesting outing on Friday night against Orleans for Jason Reynolds. He was excellent for the first 3 frames. He went 1, 2, 3, 3 innings in a row with 5 strikeouts against the Orleans offense. In the 9th, he got rung up for a home run, and then a cascade of Kettleers errors didn't help his cause. Kettleers barely hung on to win that one 6-5. Nearly a meltdown to let Orleans win, but the Kets ended up winning thanks in large part to this guy, Jason Reynolds, who fires in another first pitch strike, this time to Lyle Lockhart Jr., the Houston Cougar. Reynolds kicks and deals again, and this time he bounces inside, and so far inside that I think he got a piece of Lyle Lockhart Jr. who now will take first base with the hit batsman, 1 out in the 7th.
The late addition of Reynolds to the Cotuit roster gives the pitching staff another power arm out of the bullpen. So impressive in his debut against Orleans on Saturday night. You know Jerry Weinstein was impressed. Same thing with Coach Roberts, and this is a guy that's going to be one of those late, almost quote-unquote rental ads, if you will, to help the Kettleers in the playoffs out of the bullpen.
Who takes the first pitch, gets a hold of it, sends a fly ball to left field. Easy pickings for Peyton Burdick, who makes the routine play for out number 2. Reynolds, one of a few recent additions for the Kettleers. Nick Gonzalez, an infielder from New Mexico State, coming in from the Dubois City Bombers of the Ohio Valley League, which just wrapped up. That's a wood bat league. He hit almost 400. And Gonzalez will wear number 15 for the Kettleers, and Coach Roberts said he expects to see him alongside some of the other recent additions down the stretch run. Trey Jacobs, another one of those, played in the Valley League in Virginia for the Staunton Braves. He's out of UNC Pembroke, and he'll come in for the Kettleers down the stretch run as Ryan Kreidler takes strike 1. Man on first, that's Lyle Lockhart Jr., and the Kettleers may be gaining a little momentum here against the Wareham Gatemen, a team that, to put it bluntly, had the Kettleers' number over the first few games. Won 3 of the first 4 against Cotuit, with the only other one being a tie, as Kreidler sends a bouncer to Smith, who makes the easy throw to second base as Corey Wood takes it for out number 3. A 1-2-3 inning for Reynolds. The hit by pitch for Lyle Lockhart Jr., but a quick inning for Jason Reynolds, who gets the third out there on the ground out, and it's still 2-0 Kettleers. Time to stretch at Lowell Park. We'll be right back with the bottom of the 7th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Sam, you know what sounds like it was forever ago? When Martha said that we were thinking about science.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Although you did cut me off there.
I know I did. That's why I thought about it.
Oh my god, they're leaving porn out.
I love that.
Oh, Mason. Alright, does you have Zane? You got Zane? Alright, you hear us, Mace?
Locked and loaded for the bottom of the 7th here at Lowell Park. Kettleers up 2-0, and let's go down to the third member of our crew, Newhouse School's own Mason Horodisky, live with Zane Collins.
Thank you for the Newhouse shout-out, guys. And yes, I'm here with our starter, Zane Collins. Now, Zane, 3 2/3 today, only 2 hits, no earned runs. What was working for you out there?
I would say throwing changeups and a lot of fastball counts, keeping the hitters on their front foot, and a lot of soft contact.
Got to keep those off-speed pitches going, and it's looking great for the Kettleers as they're up 2-0 going into the bottom of the 7th. Let's hope they can hold on to this lead. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Mason, and thanks, Zane, for the in-game interview as Corey Wood gets a hold of the first pitch. High fly ball, deep center field. Hunter ranging back. He makes the overhead catch for out number 1. So Zane Collins today, 3 2/3. He gave up just 2 hits, surrendering no runs. He struck out 3. And there's a lot of buzz around the ballpark about this guy. A returner for the Kettleers. He's been there before, an all-star in 2017. Mike Roberts wants him to be a part of the playoff rotation.
Yeah, I think with Zhang, the key is confidence. It's adrenaline. It's energy and intensity on the mound. But he has that, and he's throwing strikes and not walking guys. He's pretty effective, and he knows his way around the block in the Cape.
Here's the hottest hitter on the Cape, Peyton Burdick, who takes ball 1 high. Burdick officially named Cape League Hitter of the Week. An excellent week for Burdick, who's hitting .433 over his last 10 games. A red-hot hitter who takes ball 2 low. A 10-game on-base streak, a 7-game hit streak for Burdick, who's 0 for 2 today, so those streaks in jeopardy, but he can change that here. The 2-0 from Jared Horn, down low in the dirt. 3-0 now the count. Burdick the other night at Bourne in the playoff clinching 8-2 win, just a home run shy of the cycle. As the 3-0 comes in, and it's outside, ball 4. Peyton Burdick, a 4-pitch walk, and that'll extend the on-base streak to 11 games. He gives a handshake to Brady North, the first base coach, and he's on with 1 out in the 7th.
A couple of fellas that like those wings at the 99 restaurant, Bird and Brady North, the first base coach.
Brady Smith, too, was adamant about some of the wings.
What was the flavor you was recommending?
Was it Golden Delight?
Golden Fever or something like that?
Golden Rush? Golden something. Here's Zach Humphreys. Ball 1 high.
I think it was Gold Fever or something like that.
It was Gold something. Sam's looking it up right now. Pull up that 99 wing menu.
This is not an advertisement, by the way.
Of course, Corey Wood was adamant if we want to get some other wing establishments in. He was adamant that the sweet barbecue boneless wings at Buffalo Wild Wings are the way to go. I like the honey barbecue, little tang.
Gold Fever wings.
Gold Fever.
Oh, that sounds actually really good. Boneless Gold Fever wings.
Gold Fever. That's the Brady North, Brady Smith, Peyton Burdick special.
Yes.
Gold Fever. Zach Humphreys at the dish with a 1-0 count. 1 out. Kettleers on top of the Gatemen. 2-0. Jared Horn, the Cal Golden Bear, on for his 4th inning of work. And he fires in the 1-0. It's a strike right down Broadway. 1-1 the count. So the Kettleers starting to play with the Gatemen. Wareham simply owned the Kettleers the first few matchups of the season. An 8-1 blowout loss here at Lowell Park. An 8-2 blowout loss at Spillane Field. The only positive result for the Kettleers was a 2-2 tie back on July 13th. And then that all changed as Humphreys fouls one straight back. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Last Saturday night, down 3-1. 2 strikes, 2 outs in the top of the 8th. And a man on first, Garrett Wolforth, who about 2 days before that was just the bullpen catcher, crushed a 2-run home run, pushed the game into extras. Will Robertson did cleanup duty. 4-3 win for the Kettleers, and they haven't turned back, winning 7 of their last 8. The 1-2, and Burdick off and running. He'll cruise into second as the ball gets past Millis. Now Burdick charging for third, and he struts in safe at third base. A free 180 feet for Peyton Burdick. Now just 90 from home, and a 2-2 count for Humphreys with a chance to drive home the Ket's 3rd run of the afternoon.
Chance for the Kettleers to take advantage of a mistake here. Just 1 out in the inning, and Burdick all the way up to third base on that play. Drew Millis had no idea where that ball was. I mean, Burdick had enough time to stop for coffee in between second and third before he got there.
Stop for some of those Golden Fever wings.
Yeah.
2-2 high for ball 3. The coffee would probably do him better for the next couple innings than the Gold Fever wings. But he's at third, a chance to score with Humphreys getting the 3-2 count. Infield coming in for Wareham. Ready to pounce with a runner at third and 1 gone. Full count. Horn kicks and deals. High. Ball 4. Another walk for Jared Horn. And now runners at the corners with 1 away.
Well, now Wareham starting to unravel. And you get the sense that there might be a pitching change on the docket. And a mound visit coming up here.
Pitching coach out of the dugout for Wareham. Still a left-handed pitcher warming up in the bullpen. The control kind of slipping away for Horn. That's an understatement. 4 walks, with all of them coming in the last 2 innings. The 6th inning that scored 2 runs for the Kettleers with the 2-run home run from Zach Bierman. And now indeed, Wareham will turn to the bullpen for the 3rd time today. 4th pitcher coming out of the pen for the Gatekeepers. 1 out, runners on the corners. We'll take a pause for this pitching change. Kettleers on top of Wareham, 2-0. This is Cotuit Kettleer Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. 2-0 Kettleers on top of the Gatemen in the bottom of the 7th, and a pitching change for Wareham. Their 4th pitcher of the ball game is going to be Joey Barron, the lefty out of Lackawanna College. If you're an Office fan out there, Lackawanna College in Scranton, Pennsylvania, home of Dunder Mifflin in The Office. And Joey Barron, a Lackawanna Falcon, on to work the rest of this frame. He comes in a tight spot with runners at the corners and 1 gone for Brady Smith. Barron with 3 appearances on the season. He's yet to allow an earned run. Just 2 hits on the season, facing 13 batters. The Lackawanna Falcon out of West Hazelton, Pennsylvania, wearing number 11 for Wareham. Remember, they're not in the regular road navies, but in their alternate uniform, sort of a cranberry red with Gatemen trimmed in navy across the front. It's Burdick at third, Zach Humphreys at first. Burdick reached on a walk and then came all the way from first to third on a passed ball. Zach Humphreys also on with a walk. 4 walks for Jared Horn as the bearded Joey Barron fires over to first. Checking on Humphreys, but he's back just with a quick, easy step. Full docket of Cape games tonight. Every other game underway now. Bourne on top 3-1 against Hyannis. Both of these teams happy with that, as Brady Smith takes strike 1 at the knees. A curveball at 78 from Barron. Hyannis in second place, 2 points back of first, held by Wareham. 2 points up on third, which is a tie right now between Falmouth and Cotuit. So a Bourne win would bode well for both sides. Runners dancing with their leads. Now the 0-1 is a moonshot off the bat of Brady Smith. Staying in the yard in foul territory where it's caught by the shortstop Ryan Kreidler. Now he charges in to keep Burdick at third, and Burdick follows suit, staying at the bag. So now 2 outs, still runners at the corners, and that'll bring up Will Robertson, who's reached all 3 times today. A single in the first, a single in the third, but then he got thrown out trying to extend into a double. And he reached on a fielder's choice in the 6th, then came around to score on the Zach Bierman 2-run home run. 2-0 Kettleers, 2 outs in the 7th. Runners on the corners. Will Robertson cranks one into right field. A base hit, and that's going to score a Kettleer run. Burdick home to score. Coming into third, Humphreys. He gets in safe. Into second is Will Robertson. And the Kettleers take a 3-0 lead on the RBI from Will Robertson. He extends his RBI streak to 5 consecutive games with the run batted in, and the Kets keep things moving with 2 outs.
There you go, Robertson, you said it. He's been on fire as of late. Nice poke to the right side of the infield. That's what he likes to do. A pull hitter with good power. Hard hit ball that gets through the hole. Another run coming home to score in Burdick. The difference in this game was who was going to take advantage of mistakes on the mound, and by that I mean walks, and a couple of walked batters in Burdick, along with Humphreys, who's at third.
Here's Bierman. He takes strike 1, a slider on the outside corner. Burdick coming home to score on that one. Now Humphreys at third, Robertson at second. Kettleers on top of Wareham, 3-0. As they continue to jockey for position in the crowded West. 0-1 to Bierman. He swings at a ghost way high. 0-2 the count. Humphreys the lead at third. Robertson at second. It's Barron versus Bierman. Here's the 0-2 pitch in the dirt. Ball 1. Top of the lineup doing the heavy lifting for the Kettleers today. Will Robertson and Zach Bierman with the 3 runs batted in a 3-0 ball game. 1-2 count, 2 outs. Here's the pitch to Bierman. He takes it outside, a check swing, but he didn't go around. It's ball 2. Cotuit looking for its 2nd win of the season against Wareham. The first of which started this stretch of 7 wins in 8 games. They'll look to make it 8 wins in 9 if they can hold on here. 2-2 count, 2 outs. The pitch to Bierman, taken in the dirt. It's low for ball 3. The Kettleers averaging over 7 runs per game, 4 extra base hits per game in this 8-game stretch. Just 1 extra base hit today. That was Zach Bierman's home run. Here's the payoff pitch with 2 outs, and you can ring him up. Good slider on the outside corner from Joey Barron. He gets Bierman down on strikes, but the Kettleers return another run. RBI single from Will Robertson plates Peyton Burdick, and the Kettleers up 3-0 on the Wareham Gatemen as we head on to the 8th. Jason Reynolds back on, and Sam Niederman will take you home here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Asked me, and I'm going to reiterate it right now. It was about Zane Collins, today's starter. He threw that complete game shutout against Wareham last summer, as Reynolds forces another foul ball off the bat of Hunter. 1 ball and 2 strikes. First complete game shutout for the Kettleers since 2010 against Wareham. How many pitches did Zane throw in that historic outing? Was it A, 89, B, 101, C, 117, or D, 129, as Hunter fouls off another one on the left side? The correct answer is C, 117. 53% of you guessed correctly, and so did I, on the easiest, most cupcake question you've ever created, man. Reynolds 1-2, a curveball hit in the air, third base grandstand, foul out of play.
All I'm going to say, and then we're going to move on from this trivia question, is wait for tomorrow at Falmouth, 6 o'clock. 5th inning, I'll hit you with the trivia, and you'll wish I didn't.
Not so fast, my friend. Hunter fighting off another one foul on the left side. Just a little flare onto the wooden deck of that third base grandstand. A couple of fans had a shot at it, but nobody was able to make a clean catch. Are you already going to be looking through the archives now to get a...
No. After the game, right after the game, I'll get some pizza, then I'll look.
The 1-2 bounced right up the box and into center field. What an at-bat by Skylar Hunter. Fouling off 4 consecutive pitches and then ending it with a single into center. Just over the head of Reynolds on the mound, who ducks for cover. Thankfully, he's all right. Leadoff single, and that'll turn it over to the top of the Wareham order with nobody out here in the 8th.
These gatekeepers aren't done. 3-0 is still a very competitive ball game, and this Wareham offense, explosive when they need to be, second on the Cape in batting average, second in on-base percentage, 26 homers on the season. One of the best run differentials on the Cape. They can score in a hurry, but Reynolds will look to shut him down here.
Cotuit has kept him in check. No runs on 3 hits and no errors for Wareham. 3 runs on 6 hits, no errors for the Kettleers. Runner on first here in the 8th. Leadoff man and Isaac Collins at the plate. Infield at double play depth. Reynolds set. Here's the 1-0. Fastball hit on 1 hop to short. Salvatore easy flip to second. 6-4-3 double play to clear the bases. Salvi, Woody, and Tolia turning it. Good job by Reynolds. And just like that, 2 outs here in the 8th.
Oh, such a clutch play just to get the ground ball. Salvatore in perfect position. And those two turning into a very nice double play combo. Salvi and Wood. Tolia at first. The lanky guy, solid. He can scoop up anything.
Oliver Dunn, the batter, he takes a fastball low for ball 1. Kettleers with a slight shift on. Salvatore, the shortstop, playing closer to second base. Big gap on the left side of the infield. Reynolds a curveball outside, ball 2 on Dunn. Second baseman out of Utah, 0 for 2 on the day with a walk. Kettleers scoring 1 more in the bottom of the 7th. Robertson, the RBI single. Fastball called for a strike at the knees. 92 miles an hour from Jason Reynolds. Late acquisition from the Cal Ripken League for the Kettleers by way of Lehigh, an aerospace engineering major. Is 2-1. Just low. 3-1 to count on Dunn. Sun setting down here at Lowell Park. Beautiful blue sky overhead, though. Some wispy clouds extending off. As the 3-1 is bounced on the right side, Corey Wood has it in shallow right field. He ranges over and makes the play for the final out of the inning. So Jason Reynolds works around a leadoff hit. A 6-4-3 double play also helping the cause, as the Kettleers will come to the plate one more time in the bottom of the 8th, leading Wareham 3-0 here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Joey Barron, the left-hander from Lackawanna College, still on the mound here in the bottom of the 8th inning as the Kettleers come to the plate with a 3-0 lead. 3, 4, and 5 due up. Tolia, Salvatore, and Ellis. As Big Mike, the switch hitter, will bat from the right side here against the southpaw. As home plate umpire Tim Carey says, hey, let's go. Sun's going down. Everything getting hotter here at Lowell Park. Getting pretty dark as well. We're on the last day of July, and the Kettleers trying to end this month with a big exclamation point. First pitch from Barron, low at the shins, ball 1. Cotuit looking for their 4th straight win, their 8th win in 9 games, their 2nd win in a row against the Wareham Gatemen to close out the season series. A 1-0. Hit on the ground on the left side and into the Kettleer dugout, foul. Michael Tolia today, 0 for 2 with a walk back in the 6th inning. Bounced out to the first baseman in the 4th inning as well as his first at-bat. The high socks, slightly open stance at 6'4". Joey Barron on the mound, a lot shorter. The 1-1. Curveball in there on the inner half of the plate, strike 2.
It's an interesting dynamic when you have a batter that's so much bigger than the pitcher. You got the 6'5" Tolia against the 5'10" Barron. Especially from our vantage point behind home plate, Tolia just looks so much bigger.
Barron's 1-2. Sharply fouled on the left side and into the Cotuit dugout again. Look out below down there. Zane Collins, the pitcher for today of the Kettleers, is up there with Tim Smith, strength and conditioning coach. They're always having a good time.
Always at the end of the dugout.
Yep.
That's their spot.
The 1-2 again. Swing and a miss. Filthy curveball from Barron there to sit down Tully on strikes. Leadoff man retired, and now Mike Salvatore. So the Kettleers, with a win today, would boost themselves up in the standings to 47 points. That'd be good enough to tie Hyannis. One out here in the bottom of 8. Kettleers up by 3. Nobody aboard for Salvi as Barron deals in a first pitch changeup for a strike. Cape League scoreboard, full slate of games tonight. Bourne is leading Hyannis 3-1 in the bottom of 5 at McKeon Park. Falmouth a 3-0 lead over Brewster in the bottom of 4 at home. Chatham a 1-0 edge against Harwich on the road. As Salvatore bloops a little bouncer to short, Kryler takes it on one hop. Good throw for out number 2. And YD visiting Orleans, who's desperate right now. Scoreless ball game. They're just underway at Eldridge Park in the top of the first. So favorable results for the Kettleers with Hyannis losing right now. That would allow the Kettleers to jump them in the standings should this result hold, and Cotuit can find the way to get the last 3 outs of this ball game at home.
And the Kettleers could go to sleep tonight with potentially second place if Falmouth were also to lose.
They would need to slip up. They're leading Brewster right now 3-0. But the Kettleers still in play for pretty much anything in the West as Duke Ellis lays down a 2-out bunt. But it will just roll foul on the right side, and that's just strike 1. Of course, should the Kettleers find a way to win the last 3 outs of the 9th coming up against Wareham, that would put them in position to perhaps find a way to take the Western Division with the last 2 games against Falmouth on the road tomorrow and then at home on Thursday. Having beaten Wareham, they would need the Gatemen to lose one of their last 2 games, and that's all. As long as Cotuit 1 out, finishing the year 3-0 with their last 3, including this one, and then the Gatemen losing just 1 more of their last 2. The 0-1 to Ellis. Breaking ball on the outside corner, strike 2.
And it's more about the matchup than the seeding, because once the playoffs start, the seeding is irrelevant. All these teams in the West are so evenly matched. And even though the Kettleers are winning right now, the team they got the number on is not Wareham, it's Hyannis.
Ellis takes a 2-strike pitch on the ground to second. Dunn funnels it and throws in time to get the speedy runner in Duke. And a 1-2-3 inning for Alex Barron on the mound. As we head to the 9th, 3-0, the Kettleers with the lead. They'll try and get the final 3 outs of this one here when we come back at Lowell Park. This is Cotuit Kettleers baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Here we go, top of the 9th inning, and the Kettleers leading the Wareham Gatemen 3-0. Jason Reynolds, a right-hander from Lehigh, will try and close the door in a safe situation against 3, 4, and 5 in the Wareham order. Chet, Idens, and Millis. As a right-hander winds up and deals a first pitch fastball for ball 1. Cotuit looking for their first shutout of the season as the pitching staff has held this Gatemen offense in check, scoreless with just 3 hits. Reynolds missing upstairs with another fastball, 2-0 on Shenton. He's got to mow down the toughest part of the order to get it, as the Kettleer infield with a slight shift, Salvatore playing near the middle at short. Shenton fouls off the 2-0. Austin 0 for 3 today. 2 flyouts to center field and a strikeout looking back in the third. Jeremy Idens to follow. He's also 0 for 3. And Drew Millis, the 5-man, also 0 for 3. Reynolds, the 2-1. Fastball laced in the air. Down the left field line. Trouble for Burdick as this will be extra bases. Austin Shenton wheeling around first and into second with a leadoff double here in the 9th.
So now the Kettleers in danger of not getting that shutout with the runner in scoring position and no one out for a dangerous Jeremy Idens. And the Kettleers have had a few chances this season for shutouts that were burned in the final inning. Most notably for me at least was back on June 24th against Chatham. 6-0 lead, 1 out in the bottom of the 7th because that was a 7-inning doubleheader game. And Spencer Torkelson hit a mammoth home run. Opening day against Brewster, it was 10-0 in the 9th, and the Whitecaps scrapped together a run. We'll see if Reynolds can hold down the 4th.
First pitch to Jeremy Idens. Fastball right down the pipe, strike 1. Shenton the leadoff double to give Wareham a little bit of life. Just their 4th hit of the ball game. It's the Kettleers in front, 3-0 here in the top of 9. Reynolds on the mound. Jeremy Idens the batter. Here's his 0-1 pitch. Curveball, bounce towards third. Good pick by Smith. Fires across the diamond to Tolia for 1. As Shenton with opportunistic base running will move up 90 feet to third base. Held up as Smith made the throw and then took off right when he let go of the ball. And so 1 out and a man on third for the number 5 man and Drew Millis.
Great base running there from Shenton. So many guys would be contentious to stay at second, but the second that ball was out of Brady Smith's hands, he was off and running. He's sneaky fast, Austin Shenton.
Getting dark here at Lowell Park. Here's the first pitch to Millis. Hit in the air, out of play, foul. One sort of puffy, flat pancake-like cloud is blanketing Lowell Park right now as the sun goes down. Blue sky that eventually fades into a light pink behind the tree line. The 0-1 to Millis is a sweeping curveball inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Shenton the runner at third. 1 out here in the 9th. The Kettleers lead by 3. Looking to make it 4 in a row. Reynolds, the right-hander on the mound. Here's the 1-1. Hard hit ball through the right side of the infield. An RBI single for Drew Millis. Shenton comes home to score, and the Gatemen finally on the board. They cut it to a 2-run game with just 1 out here in the 9th.
So this high-powered Wareham offense that has scored 221 runs this season, they get nothing today from their big guns, and one of the unlikeliest suspects, Drew Millis, delivers. There goes the shutout for the Kettleers, and the 3rd time this season they've had a shutout erased in the 9th inning. They won the previous 2, so they'll look to hold on here with the 2-run pad.
Well, there goes the shutout, and there goes pitcher's BP, as that's the prize for a collective shutout, as the Kettleers fall 2 outs away from getting their first shutout of the year, but still in the lead, 3-1, as Millis plates Shenton with the RBI single. Jerry Weinstein, the pitching coach, a quick mound visit with the infield and the catcher, Zach Humphreys. Try and calm down his right-hander and Jason Reynolds. 2 hits in this inning and 1 run already home for Wareham. Down to their last 2 outs, and the Kettleers up 3-1. Lyle Lockhart Jr., the switch hitter at the plate. He'll bat from the left side here. Runner on first and 1 down. Reynolds from the stretch. Brings the glove to the letters. Now to the plate. Swing and a miss. Good hard fastball, strike 1.
You know, I really want to see that pitcher's BP.
We've got really 2 more chances in the regular season to do it.
And hey, a playoff shutout? That's
Wouldn't
even
that
sweeter.
be nice? Infield at double play depth. Reynolds looks back. Here's the 0-1. Hard fastball that clipped Lockhart on the thigh. Hit batsman for the 2nd time today, Lyle Lockhart Jr., who will walk on down to first base And now the potential go-ahead run coming to the plate in Luke Roscom. Things getting a little dicey for the Kettleers here in the 9th. Leading by 2, but now 2 on and just 1 out.
Getting dicey indeed, getting spicy here. Ket's got to be real careful. Remember, last time this happened, it was also Jason Reynolds on the bump against Orleans. Kettleers really held on by a hair. It was a base running mistake from Orleans and Carter Aldretti that ended that one. And the Kets looking to put him away here.
Luke Roscom, the batter from the left side. 2 on with 1 out. Pitch from Reynolds. Fastball laced into right field. Base hit Wareham. Runner coming at third is Millis, and he will take a hard break and stay put right there. The base is loaded as Roscom rockets the first pitch that he sees into right field. And now Wareham really putting the pressure on, and that will be it for Jason Reynolds. Check that. He will stay out on the mound. Looked like there was going to be a pitching change, but Reynolds will stay on the mound for the moment. The bottom of this Wareham order getting things going here. Mike Crime Dog Mobbs, the third base coach for Wareham, putting up the stop sign at the last moment. Drew Millis kind of took a tumble as he was about a few steps past the third base bag, but eventually staying there. Now it looks like we'll have a pinch hitter for Wareham. Roscom, the number 7 man, reaching on the single. Ryan Kreidler, the shortstop, is the next batter due up. However, it will be John Martellini to emerge from the dugout, the former Cotuit Kettleer, who played here last summer, playing for Wareham this year, his 3rd season in the Cape League. He will come to the plate with the bases loaded and 1 out in the 9th inning. The Kettleers with a 3-1 lead, but Wareham knocking on the door here in the final chance.
Remember, last time Martellini played here in the 8-1 win for Wareham last month, he hit a 3-run home run. That's his only dinger of the season.
Bases loaded. Here's the pitch from Reynolds. Looping curveball on the outside corner, strike 1. Martellini from Boston College, a native of Johnston, Rhode Island. As manager, Mike Roberts comes out from the Kettleer dugout and motions to the outfield to shift to the left. Duke Ellis playing near the left center gap. The 0-1 from Reynolds. Curveball in the dirt, blocked off the chest pad by Humphreys, who recovers and gets the ball that's spurted out to his right. 1-1 the count on Martellini. 1 run home in this inning, the RBI single by Drew Millis. He's on third base. Lyle Lockhart Jr., a hit batsman, on second base, and Luke Roscom with a single on first base. The Kettleers leading this one on the strength of Zach Bierman's 2-run home run that opened up the scoring in the 6th. The 1-1. Curveball, just a little low, 2-1, advantage to the hitter. The home crowd at Lowell Park falling silent here as things have just gotten real. The bases loaded for Wareham. Kettleers up by 2, 1 out in the 9th. The 2-1 to Martellini. Fastball fouled off on the right side. Jason Reynolds, a right-hander out of Lehigh. He came on at the end of the 6th inning, and he is looking to find the save here. Trying to go the distance. Now in a jam. The 2-2. Curveball just nipped back foul. Almost had him on that bender, but Martellini stays alive. The pinch hitter here in the 8th spot for Ryan Kreidler. The sun has set on Lowell Park. The bases are loaded for Wareham. Kettleers up by 2 with 1 out in the 9th. Reynolds lifts the 2-2. Fastball just off the plate for ball 3. The Kettleers fans on the third base side thought that was a strike, but that's off the plate. And ball 3 is a call and a full count on Martellini. Just 1 out here in the 9th. Bases are full, the 3-2. Hit right back up the middle, a line drive single. 1 run home to score in Millis. Here comes Lockhart, and this game is tied in the 9th. Wareham with 3 runs, the 2-run single by the pinch hitter and Martellini, knotting this ball game up 3-3.
Oh man, that one stings for the Kettleers. It definitely stings to blow a 3-run lead. And there's still a job to do here. The sun's setting. Time to finish this one out and hitting the bottom of the 9th. So job number 1 is to keep this at a 3-3 tie and make sure at least that the Kettleers can salvage a tie out of this one and not let Wareham get the comeback W.
A pinch runner has come into the ball game, and it's another former Cotuit Kettleer, Jacob Goldfarb. Will relieve John Martellini, whose pinch hit 2-run single has tied this game at 3 here in the top of the 9th. 2 runners on, still just 1 out in the inning. And this is Jason Reynolds' jam to get out of. He's still on the mound. The right-hander will face off against Skylar Hunter, left-handed bat from Purdue. Runners bouncing off with nobody holding on, infield at DP depth. First pitch is a breaking ball, hammered in the air. Curving down towards left field where Burdick will glove it for out number 2. So now with the sun setting, we came into this frame with Cotuit up 3-0, thinking all they needed was 3 outs for a shutout victory, and we wouldn't have to worry about the Kettleers coming to the plate in the bottom of the 9th. But with darkness factoring in, you figure that this one will be wrapped up in 9 innings no matter what the result is.
Yeah, I mean, you got to play the bottom of the 9th. You can't end it right here.
Next batter is the leadoff man, Isaac Collins. 1 for 4 today, grounded into a double play his last time up in the 8th. Goldfarb, the pinch runner at first base. Roscom, the runner at second. 2 down here in the 9th. A whole new ball game, 3-3. Wareham has tied it. Reynolds set, looks back at the runner at second, now to the plate. Breaking ball off the plate, ball 1. All 3 runs for the Gatemen coming home in this inning. It started with the RBI single by Millis. Then John Martellini, the former Kettleer, burning Cotuit with a pinch hit 2-run single. Reynolds set from the stretch. The 1-0. Curveball. Nice on the outside corner to even up the count. The Kettleer faithful can't believe it. Will look to be an easy 3-0 victory. Has just been flipped upside down. 3-3 ball game here in the 9th. Wareham not going down silently and perhaps looking to take the lead. 2 on with 2 outs. Reynolds the 1-1. Curveball in the dirt, blocked by Humphreys. He keeps it in front.
And for the Kettleers, the key here is to stay positive. You can't act like you've just been hit by a truck. A chance to salvage a point if you tie and hold them here, and then heading into the bottom of the 9th, still a chance to win. It's not like Wareham is up by a few runs. It's a tie game, very much in reach for Cotuit. So you got to stay locked in and do your job.
A 2-1 count to Collins. Swinging a foul right behind home plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wareham back from the dead. They came into this inning with just 3 hits. They've scored 3 runs already on 4 hits in this inning. Still 2 runners on, 2 outs here in the 9th. Tie ball game and a 2-2 count on Isaac Collins. Reynolds, the right-hander, set. Looks back, kicks and deals. Breaking ball, take it in the air, down in right field, a base hit. Wareham has taken the lead in the 9th as Roscom comes home to score. Isaac Collins comes up big, and the Gatemen, for the first time today, lead 4-3 with 2 outs in the 9th.
Got to credit Wareham here for the clutch hitting. Easy to go down with no runs on 3 hits, but they have just stormed back. 5 hits in this inning. Of course, the 2 clutch hits from Martellini to tie it, then Collins to take the lead. What a performance from Wareham, and for Cotuit, a slight meltdown here in the 9th.
Jason Reynolds, the pitcher, will throw over to third base as Brady Smith taps the bag to appeal as Luke Roscom, the runner. They wanted to see if he missed the bag coming towards home plate, but that's not the case. Everybody's safe. 4-3 Wareham. And the top of the 9th inning, 4 runs here in the 9th. Simply incredible as the RBI single from Collins has given the Gatemen the lead. Runners on first and third for Oliver Dunn. Pitch from Reynolds. Fastball in the dirt, ball 1. Dunn, the 9th man to come to the plate for Wareham in this frame. It all started with Austin Shetton's leadoff double. He came around to score on the single by Millis. Then a hit batsman, Lyle Lockhart, Luke Roskam single, and then John Martellini's 2-run single as a pinch hitter, tying the game at 3. Skylar Hunter flied out for the second out of the inning, but Isaac Collins, the RBI hit to give Wareham the lead. The 1-0, hit high in the air, right field. This should be out number 3. Robertson under it, he's got it. And finally, a nightmare inning is over for the Cotuit Kettleers, who now trail 4-3. Wareham, 4 runs on 5 hits here in this 9th inning, and the Gatemen have taken the lead. The last stand for Cotuit coming up next, the bottom of the 9th. On the other side of this break, this is Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Bottom of the 9th at Lowell Park. We didn't think the Kettleers would need to bat in this game, but after a stunning top of the 9th inning by Wareham, it's Cotuit down to their last 3 outs. 4-3, Gatemen leading the Kettleers. 4 runs on 5 hits for Wareham. And that 9th inning, who trailed 3-0 at the beginning of the frame, now they lead for the first time today. Kettleers down to their last 3 outs. Here's Corey Wood leading things off, taking ball 1 on the inside corner. The left-hand Joey Barron responsible for the save now, as he's the pitcher for Wareham, facing 6, 7, and 8 in the Kettleer order. Barron from the stretch, the 1-0. Change up on the outside corner, strike 1.
There's no way around it. It's devastating. It was a meltdown, but let's stay positive. It's still a chance for the Kettleers. Corey Wood has a knack for getting on base. Peyton Burdick next up. He's red hot. Humphreys is a solid hitter. Still chances exist.
Swing and a miss on a good fastball. 1-2 the count on Wood. Wood, Burdick, and then Zach Humphreys due up for the Kettleers. 4-3, Wareham in front for the first time today. Barron's 1-2 is a curveball in the dirt. That evens up the count on Woody. Corey 0 for 3 today. Second on the team and on base percentage. He'll need to get on here if the Kettleers want a chance. This is the last inning. It's dark at Lowell Park. Swing and a miss on the 2-2. Barron with a nasty curveball once more. And the leadoff man retired here in the bottom of 9. The Kettleers led 3-0 heading into the 9th inning. Wareham scored 4 in the top of the 9th. And now Cotuit trailing by just 1 run. And down to their last 2 outs, Peyton Burdick is the batter. Barron's first pitch, a curveball right down the middle, strike 1. The 0-1. Fastball low and in, that evens up the count. Bird 0 for 2 today, pair of strikeouts. He walked in his last time up in the 7th, came around to score on the RBI single from Robertson. But that wasn't enough insurance. 2-1 the count on Birdie as he takes a fastball high and away. Still a lot of crowd here at Lowell Park, but a very quiet one after Wareham's offense comes alive at the last second. Swing and a miss. Another good curveball from Barron. 2-2 the count. That is his pitch. That is a tough one to hit.
Yeah, Barron's locked in, and this is a nasty pitcher from Lackawanna. He's got that good curveball, a quick fastball. He's yet to give up an earned run on the season.
Burdick swings and misses at the 2-2. Make it back-to-back strikeouts for Joey Barron. And the tables have turned completely. The Kettleers down to their final out, down by a run in the bottom of the 9th. Zach Humphreys, the last chance. The catcher from TCU, 0 for 2 today with a walk back in the 7th. Barron from the belt. Another curveball, another strike. The 0-1. Swing and a miss. That curveball is filthy. A soft pink sky above at Lowell Park. Bottom of the 9th inning. Nobody aboard. 2 outs. And the Kettleers down to their last strike. Humphreys at the plate. 0-2 the count. Barron's pitch. Way outside with a 91-mile-an-hour fastball. Wareham rallying to score 4 in the 9th. And now the Kettleers down to their last breath. The 1-2. Hard hit ball right back up the middle. And a single in center field keeps Cotuit alive. Zach Humphreys his first hit of the day. And maybe a pulse.
Yep, right on their last breath. The 1-2 count with 2 outs. Good little poke up the middle on a pitch outside to Humphreys. And now a chance for Brady Smith. Remember, the Kettleers at this point, you don't need to win the ball game. You get 2 points for a win, 1 point for a tie, and of course none for a loss. So if they could at least salvage a run out of this inning and get an important point, that would be huge.
Brady Smith has done that once against Wareham this year. The 2-2 tie on July the 12th. He bounces one high towards second base. Dunn charging in. Barehand throw, not in time. Smith safe at first. And 2 runners have reached with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th. Kettleers down by 1 will have a chance with the top of the order.
Oh, and who would you rather have up right now than this guy, Will Robertson? He has 3 singles today and a run scored. He's swinging a hot bat. 2 runners on. I mean, this is a huge chance for the Kettleers to totally turn the tables in the bottom of the 9th.
Don Sneddon, the Wareham manager, with a smile at the home plate umpire, and Tim Carey. It's a close play at first, but Smith safe. An infield hit to keep Cotuit alive. 2 on, 2 outs in the bottom of 9. Wareham in front, 4-3, and Will Robertson is the batter. Time called on the diamond, as Mike Roberts is going to signal for a pinch runner. Zach Humphreys, the runner at second base, will trot back to the third base home dugout. A handshake with his manager at third, and a pinch runner making his Kettleer debut, Nick Gonzalez. Nick Gonzalez, a pinch runner for the Kettleers at second base, recently added from New Mexico State. He makes his Cape League debut as a pinch runner on second base. A 1-run ball game. Kettleers down in the bottom of the 9th. Gonzalez, the runner at second. Smith at first. 2 outs. Robertson, the batter. First pitch fouled off on the left side. A low-scoring game in which Cotuit led 3-0 heading into the 9th. Wareham scoring 4 in the top of this inning to take the lead. Now things interesting as the Kettleers have put 2 on with 2 outs. Robertson at the plate. He's reached in all 4 plate appearances, including an RBI single in the 7th. The 0-1. Curveball hit down for a base hit in center field. Gonzalez coming home. This game is tied. Will Robertson in the bottom of the 9th giving the Kettleers a little bit of life. It's 4-4.
Have a game, Will Robertson. 4 singles, now 2 runs batted in, and Nick Gonzalez in his Kettleer debut has a chance to score the game-tying run. So the Kettleers, at the very least, will get 1 point out of this game. And now Zach Bierman, a chance to win it.
3 consecutive hits with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. And the game tied once more, 4-4. Robertson is second RBI of the day to plate Gonzalez. And now runners on the corners. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th inning, and Zach Bierman at the plate. Joey Barron, the left-hander, on the mound. First pitch, way inside and snagged by Millis, who got up from his crouch and ran about 7 feet to his right. That's ball 1.
And that might have been the save of the game for Drew Millis. If that ball gets by, it's a walk-off wild pitch for Cotuit.
The momentum shifting back to Cotuit as the fans are on their feet. The 1-0. Line drive foul on the left side.
And Bierman's been clutch this season. He had the walk-off winner in the first leg of the first doubleheader of the season against YD on June 17th. He's got a knack for clutch hitting and a chance for a big one here.
4-4 game, first and third. The 1-1. Way upstairs with a fastball, and Millis jumping up from his crouch to snag that one for ball 2.
That's 2 very close calls on a walk-off wild pitch. Barron, a little out of control here, and Bierman's got to stay locked in. Look for his pitch.
Robertson with a single to tie this one in the bottom of 9. The 2-1. Swing and a miss at a huge fastball at the shoulders. Bierman wanted it all, but the count runs 2-2. This is it. This is either going to be a tie game or the Kettleers will come out on top with a win. The 2-2. Inside, hit the knob of the bat. Are they going to call it a hit batsman or a foul ball? Zach Bierman running all the way down to first in pain. That ball ate him up as he screamed right when it hit him. Yelling out on the knob of the barrel. Might have gotten his right wrist, the left-handed batter. Now being checked on by Craig Moody, the Cotuit athletic trainer.
There's no doubt that one hit him. The side of his right hand looks a little gimpy, and for the Kettleers, you certainly hope Zach Bierman will be okay. Now home plate umpire Tim Carey looking to inspect it and make sure the ball actually hit him. See a bruise or a bump there.
It sounded bad. It sounded like that could have hit the knob of the barrel, but that's how bad it sounded.
It's the bone.
It was probably the bone of the wrist.
Oh, no. Yeah, you hope Zach Bierman's going to be okay. Certainly a key part of this Kettleer offense. A great person, and he's awarded first base.
The call confirmed. The home plate umpire Tim Carey awards Zach Bierman first base as a hit batsman. And the bases loaded for Cotuit here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Now Don Sneddon, the Wareham manager, arguing with the home plate umpire. First base umpire Larry Rosenberg will go in to try and make sure that the conversation is wrapped up peacefully. Four-4 game in the bottom of the 9th inning. Mike Roberts, the Cotuit manager, who walked down the first base line to check on Bierman, the hit batsman, now going back and forth with Don Sneddon. And 2 umpires standing in the way to break those 2 off. Sneddon starting to go back to his dugout. Roberts not happy about something. Jerry Weinstein, the bench coach, will come out and talk with the third base umpire.
I think what Roberts is saying is he's upset with Sneddon for essentially doubting that Bierman got hit. He's saying, hey, my guy's injured. His hand is hurt. We want to make sure he's okay. And you're here doubting whether or not he was even hit. So you can't blame Roberts for being upset. Standing up for his guy, and Bierman standing up for his team. And a juicy chance now with the bases loaded for Michael Tolia, the team MVP just awarded yesterday, and a chance to really assert that MVP status with a hit here.
The bases are loaded for the Kettleers, who blew a 3-0 lead at the beginning of this 9th inning. Wareham was up 4-3 with 2 outs in the bottom of 9, and the Kettleers tying it on Robertson's RBI single. Bierman, a hit batsman, and the last 4 base runners have reached against the left-hander Joey Barron. Bases loaded, 4-4 game, 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. Pink skies overhead at Lowell Park, and Michael Tolia, the batter. First pitch is a curveball on the outside corner strike line.
You gotta be wary of Barron's control. He hit the batter there in Bierman. 2 of the previous 4 pitches were nearly wild pitches. Tolia should be patient here and wait for his pitch because Barron isn't throwing much over the middle.
Smith is the winning run at third. Bases full with 2 outs. The 0-1. Hard fastball fouled off the shin of Tolia, and a no ball 2-strike count. Tolia today 0 for 3 with a walk. The switch hitter bats from the right side here. The little left-hander in Joey Barron has worked himself into some trouble. From Lackawanna College in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Bases loaded, 2 outs, tie game. Bottom 9, Tolia at the plate, the 0-2. Swing and a miss. Just unable to get a changeup in the dirt, and that's our ball game. A tie game between Cotuit and Wareham as the Kettleers rally with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th to salvage just a draw. But what a roller coaster finish as Wareham rallies. Cotuit responds, but this game called due to darkness after 9 innings of play. The Kettleers can't get the winning run home with the bases loaded. And we'll look back on this one as a game in which Cotuit probably should have won, but pretty fun at the end, and they're able to get back and respond competitively to tie it 4-4, the final, a draw.
We might have to check the heart rate of some folks in Lowell Park. That was an emotional roller coaster in the 9th inning. To think that we came into this frame expecting the Kettleers to cruise to a 3-0 lead. We were talking about a shutout, maybe the first of the season, maybe the first pitcher's BP we get of the season. Next thing you know, it's Heartbreak City with Wareham in line for the victory. And just like that, Kettleers tie it up. All credit goes to Will Robertson. But first, Zach Humphreys for hanging in there with the 2-strike, 2-out single to keep it alive. And then Will Robertson ties it up. A chance for the Kettleers to walk it off. Credit to Drew Millis as well, because there were 2 opportunities for a walk-off wild pitch, and Millis, the catcher, saved a few wild ones. A tie, a wild one, but the Kettleers get a point.
The second tie of the season between these 2 sides, and it ends by a score 4-4. A draw at Lowell Park here in 9 innings, and we'll be back in just a moment to wrap it up here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. This is Cotuit Kettleers Baseball. And we welcome you back into the broadcast booth here at Lowell Park. A final here in 9 innings at Lowell Park. 4-4, a draw between the Cotuit Kettleers and the Wareham Gatemen. Nothing could separate the two sides in 9 innings as this game called due to darkness. The draw was the final result, and what a roller coaster ride. The Kettleers were cruising heading into the later innings of this game, up 3-0. Zach Bierman a 2-run home run in the 6th. Will Robertson an RBI single in the 7th. Entering the 9th, Wareham with their 3, 4, and 5 hitters up. It started with Austin Shenton, a leadoff double, and just a few pitches later, 4 runs on 5 hits, and the Gatemen taking a lead into the bottom of the 9th. But Cotuit rallying back down to their final strike, actually. Zach Humphreys at the plate, a little single into center field. Brady Smith, an infield single after that. Will Robertson, the RBI single with 2 outs to score a pinch runner, and Nick Gonzalez, who in the entire fray of that 9th inning made his Kettleer debut. A 4-4 game off of that. Zach Bierman was hit by a pitch to load up the bases, but Michael Toliev wasn't able to convert, striking out for the final out of the ball game. A game in which Cotuit blows a shutout lead, but they showed great competitive mettle to get back up off the mat and tie it in the bottom of 9.
Yeah, there's certainly some positives, and in that 9th inning, it wasn't a total team meltdown kind of with the errors like we saw in Orleans. We didn't see the team unravel. You know, it was just Wareham converting, and Jason Reynolds was doing his best. He's clearly a solid pitcher that Cotuit can use. But the Wareham offense was due to come alive. I mean, this is one of the best offenses on the Cape, and they just got 3 runs, no hits for the first 8 innings. They're due for something. Now, were they due for 4 runs and 5 hits and the explosion to come back? Maybe not, but really good teams excel when they need to, and Wareham did that. So a roller coaster game. Obviously, the Kettleers should have won the game. They were up 3-0 going into the 9th. This had win written all over it up until the very end, but the fact that they competed it at the end, that we saw the offense not just sit down, you know, to get the 2 strikeouts. We start at the bottom of the 9th. Corey Wood strikes out swinging. Peyton Burdick strikes out swinging, and it looks like Joey Barron, who's in the ballgame pitching for Wareham, is just a world beater, and the Kettleers have no chance. He gets 2 quick strikes on Humphreys, a throwaway pitch to make it 1-2. Seems like the Kettleers are dead to rights. Humphreys gets a key single up the middle. That ended up being the tying run on the Robertson RBI. So you appreciate the competitive mentality for the Kettleers, and I think that's one of the differences that's going to help this team down the stretch and into the playoffs, getting an important point, number 46.
A draw today for Cotuit against Wareham. 4-4 the final. The Kettleers leading 3-0 heading into the 9th. Down 4-3 in the bottom of the 9th after the Wareham rally, and then finding a way to muster the tie. So how about our offensive player of the game? It's got to be Will Robertson, those 2 RBI singles in the 7th, and then with 2 outs in the 9th, he reached all 5 times today in the leadoff spot. 4 for 5 with a run scored and 2 RBI. Pretty crazy. He reached on a fielder's choice back in the 6th, so that was his 5th time getting on. But Robertson is really coming to his own. He's on a 6-game hit streak.
Yeah, this guy's on fire. 6-game hit streak, 5-game RBI streak, the singles today. He's cruising, and he's coming into his own nicely at that leadoff spot. And I felt very confident about him coming up in the 9th inning with the runner on second to drive him in. He cranked it nicely into the gap. A good hit for him, and I think Will's coming around. So many hitters seem to be coming around. Zach Bierman, we hope he's okay after he was hit by a pitch. Seemed like his wrist, maybe the upper part of his right hand was hit on the fastball from Joey Barron. Hope he's okay because he's someone who's coming around nicely too. His batting average will creep near 300 after this one. 6 homers on the season, 2 in his last 2 games. It's an offense that's coming around at the right time. And now we're seeing some feist between these 2 teams. I'm not a betting man, but if I were, I'd bet these 2 get together for a first-round playoff series with Wareham in pole position to win the division. And with the last win coming on Saturday, 4-3 in extras for the Kettleers, comeback fashion. Here you see Wareham come back, then Cotuit come back for the tie. Already 2 ties this year. Wareham's only got 2 of those on the season. Both were here at Lowell Park. So if these 2 teams do get together in the playoffs, it's going to be fun, it's going to be feisty, and I'm going to enjoy it.
A pretty interesting end of the season series. All 3 of the final games between these sides going into extra innings. Of course, the 2-2 draw that we had back on July the 12th against Wareham. And then, actually check that, 3 of the final 4 going into extra innings the day after Wareham Kettleers 8-2-9. It was no extra innings needed there. But then, of course, the 4-3 10-inning win a week ago, and then here, and 9 innings, another tie. So 2 ties, 2 extra inning games, a little jumbled up, but all really good contests. 3 of the last 4 very close between these two sides, and you figure they might meet each other in the playoffs. Speaking of the playoffs, let's look at how the standings look right now. Wareham picking up a point. They solidify themselves in first place with 50 points. Hyannis currently in second with 47 points. Falmouth now drops to 4th at the moment, as the Kettleers pick up 1 point to go up to 46. So as the current results are right now, the Kettleers in 3rd for the moment. The 2 scores that we need to check on: Falmouth with a 5-1 lead over Brewster. So it looks like the Commodores will probably pick up 2 points and leapfrog the Kettleers once more to get back into 3rd place. And then Bourne with a 3-1 lead over Hyannis right now, which could be the news that the Kets want, because should Hyannis lose, the Harborhawks would just be 1 point up on Cotuit, which would mean that the Kettleers would be in striking distance to leapfrog them. And even if they tie with the same points, the Kettleers hold the tiebreaker with a season series head-to-head.
And also remember, those last 2 games of the season, for everyone, it's a home and home against the team that's closest to you geographically. So in 4 of the 5 games, it's a west-west or east-east battle. But for Hyannis and YD, since they're smack dab in the middle of the Cape, they get to play each other. So if we're looking at Hyannis down the stretch, they've got 2 games coming up against the best team on the Cape in YD, who leads it all with 25 wins. So a juicy chance for the Kettleers there.
How about this? Right behind home plate by the Script C at Lowell Park, Will Robertson and Isaac Collins, the 2 college roommates at Creighton, having a good post-game discussion after this 4-4 tie, along with Paul Widener, a fellow Minnesota area guy, and that, of course, where Isaac Collins is from, Maple Grove, Minnesota. Will Robertson from Loose Creek, Missouri, but everybody getting together there to have a nice chat. Those roommates, I'm sure, will remember this game, as it was Collins who had the RBI hit to tie it in the to take the lead for Wareham in the top of the 9th inning, and then Robertson getting it back with his 2nd RBI of the day to tie it for the Kettleers in the bottom of the 9th inning. So that's a look at the playoff picture. Once again, Hyannis losing right now against Bourne 3-1, and Falmouth with a comfortable lead over Brewster. So it looks like by the end of the night, the Kettleers will probably still be in 4th place, but it all depends. Still plenty of baseball left to be played. So looking ahead, only 2 more games left in this 2018 regular season. A home-and-home, as Sam mentioned, at Falmouth tomorrow at 6 p.m. first pitch, and then closing it out for Game 44 against the Commodores here at home at Lowell Park. That game will be a 4:30 first pitch on Thursday. Once again, a 4:30 first pitch on Thursday here at Lowell Park. So for those of you who tune in, who are out of town or out of state, listening to your sons, grandsons, whoever it might be, Thursday at home, we have a new first pitch time. In August, the Kettleers playing their games half an hour earlier due to this darkness problem that we encountered here today. No lights at Lowell Park, so you bump it up about a half an hour to try and make compensation for that, and that's what Cotuit will do in their regular season finale on Thursday, August the 2nd against Falmouth. That is a 4:30 first pitch, but first tomorrow against the Commodores on the road, a 6 p.m. first pitch from the Gub, and we'll have all the action for you right here on Mixler.com/Cotuit Broadcasting. Thank you so much for joining us today. Sam, final thoughts before we get ready for a big home-and-home against Falmouth to close out the regular year.
This was a crazy game. I mean, the Kettleers should have won the game, but you take the positive in salvaging a tie, getting a point. That's important for the standings. You appreciate the championship medal. We talked to Coach Roberts before the game, asked him, what characteristics do you look for in a championship caliber team? And he said you want to see the intensity and toughness, and I think we saw both of those today in the bottom of the 9th, with Humphreys getting the 2-out, 2-strike single, Robertson driving him home. A tie's a tie. 4 in the season. You never want a tie, but it's a point. You go on, and the home-and-home against Falmouth. Falmouth has had Cotuit's number this season, so those are crucial games. And I'm excited. Playoff baseball on Saturday. It's going to be a fun time, partner.
It's going to be fun. We're getting to the climax here in the Cape Cod Baseball League. So stick with us tomorrow from Gov Fuller Field in Falmouth. The first pitch at 6 p.m. Can't wait to have you along for the ride on that one. The final here at Lowell Park, 4-4, a tie between Wareham and Cotuit. Thank you for joining us. A special thank you to our entire Kettleers media crew. Beginning the day with a pregame show, Zach Kaplan and Ben Fisher, our beat writing team, our director, Mason Horodisky, production assistant, Bailey Houston, executive producer, Martha Johnston, and our executive board, Vice President Paul Logan, President Andy Boddicker, and everybody else here from the Cotuit Kettleers. We say good night for Sam Brief. I'm Sam Niederman. Hasta mañana. We'll talk to you at the Gov when it's Cotuit and Falmouth. Until then, have a nice night and make sure you get some rest.